You've reached the Union and Metro Street podcast, where we discuss the San Diego music scene of the late 80s and all of the 90s, from the shows we worked to the shows we played. Here we go.
One, two, three, four! Your balls moral attitude. Your face, but you is attitude. You're not woke, you're just stupid. You're not woke, you're just stupid. Suspended upbeat, grouping. A monolithic reality. You better make the same as me. We're no better than the CCP. Cancel culture down and you know what's coming to defend. You step back and let this happen. Now you get what you are coming. You're not woke, you're just stupid. You're not woke, you're just stupid. They are bullies in the name of peace. Real bastards to say the least. Take away your right to speak. Leave you bleeding and make you weak. Cancel culture's down and you know what's coming to defend. You step back and let this happen. Now you get what you are coming. You're not woke, you're just stupid. You're not woke, you're just stupid. You used to fight against the man. Now you seem to worship him. The government's become your friend. I wish we could go back again.
All right, you guys, that's the Wabash Cannons. We're sitting here with 3/4 of the band. Lenny wasn't able to make it, but if we want to start off and just get a voice check and introduce yourselves, and then we'll get right into it. We'll start.
Yeah, I'm Adam Henderson, a guitar player.
Cameron Nora, drummer.
Knikki Royster, singer.
What's up, guys? So Lenny is
our bass player officially.
So he just, at the time of recording this, he had just committed to it because we were just talking about before, but your bass player had quit, right?
Yeah, we had Travis Davidson as our bass player when I first came on, and the guys had him before I came. And Travis bowed out, and we didn't float very long. Literally, I think we picked up maybe the next week. I was saying that I reached out to Lenny. He's become a friend of mine, letting him know that we were without a bass player, and I was panicked because I've never been through this. This is really my first band for all intents and purposes. And Lenny jumped right in and said he'd help, but he couldn't be permanent. And as of what, you guys? Last week, if even, we really begged, pleaded, bribed. I have chickens. I brought him backyard eggs.
Not that he didn't want to do it. He didn't want to overcommit his family life. So he had to clear it with the boss, and she said, go for it. So
Yeah.
here he is.
But it's Lenny. He's a freaking legend. I've known Lenny.
Ugly Lenny.
Yeah,
Get it right.
Yeah.
Yes, ugly Lenny.
And we'll get into it, but Cam, you and I have known each other for, it goes all the way back to what, 89-ish, 90?
89-ish.
Was I even doing anything with Soma yet at that point, or?
I don't know. Puzzle Box was playing in the basement down on Union Street way back when.
Yeah, so it must have been prior, but that's the short-lived, the ninth struggle when I was working with all those bands, and then
we played the Ninth House
somehow. That's right.
Yep, that was a cool, weird little place.
The cave.
Little theater, yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something of the roots that I've tried to not so much document, more just kind of make aware, because of my whole story of Wiener Schnitzel and the Ninth is how I'm here now.
Oh, really? I didn't realize the Ninth connection there.
Oh, yeah. It was because of short-lived, and Ara was definitely my biggest cheerleader.
He's a good dude.
And so when I was able to infiltrate into Soma, the dumb punk rocker that I was, and somehow was able to start taking things further than what the Ninth was doing.
Yep.
But, this is about you guys right now. So where exactly did the band start? Where'd the name come from, and how did you guys start?
Well, Adam and I started at a backyard barbecue at a friend of ours' house, and Adam we kind of looked at each other and said, "Hey, let's get a band going."
Yeah, we were in Strychnine 99 with Dennis Quick.
Okay.
And Dennis took Strychnine 99 forward, and we separated, and Knikki was enthusiastic, and here we are. So it's been great. We've
This wasn't too long ago, was it?
No, it was 1 year and a half.
A year and a half.
Year and a half ago.
So we were Strychnine 99 for about 4 or 5 years before that in total, and then we had Travis came in basically as the real bass player about a year into it, and then from then on out we were playing the same set of music, pretty much, just different composure.
Right.
So
yeah.
Strychnine started as Filner Headlock with Alan Clark.
Yeah.
Alan bass. and then Alan was overcommitted with his family. So it turned into Strychnine in 2018. And then we split with Dennis June 26, 2021.
Look at you with the dates.
Yeah, I wrote this
Like
stuff.
an anniversary.
I sat down
Am
this
I gonna
morning
get
and wrote this
flowers or
stuff down
something?
because I knew it was gonna come up.
I like your style, man. Prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when did Knikki? When did you come? And okay, you mentioned that this is fairly new.
Yeah,
You've never fronted a band,
Really, it
or?
is. I mean, when I was in college, I went to college up in Northern California, and I was in a band called Would She? Like, would she go? Would she do this? Would she? Anyway, but we were really short lived. It was during the Riot Girl kind of era, and so we did a few things up there, but it just kind of fell apart. So it was very short lived. And the guys, I've been friends with Cameron since I was about 14 years old. And Adam I knew through Cameron and
Punk rock bowling
punk rock
friends.
bowling and things that we'd done together, different activities. And I told the guys at Punk Rock Bowling, Dennis had just left the band, and I said, well, if you need a singer, I'll come sing for you. And I'm laughing. I'm kind of laughing my ass off. And, and they're kind of like, oh, okay. And I think they're just blowing me off. Like, yeah, whatever, honey. Yeah. I don't know. And next thing I know, Cam calls me. Sweet. And it's like, you want to come try? Come on.
Give it a shot.
And it was like fucking like a fish to water. I mean, it was like, I was like, oh yeah, I could do this. I could totally do this. It's fun.
So you were like really nervous, but that's the thing about how we created all these bands as kids, is we just freaking go and do it. Like, still to this day, I don't like my voice on podcasts. I think my bass playing half the time sounds like just guttural noises, but I relate to it, and I'm still doing it after all these years. So that's the best way, is to bring in the fresh blood that, come in. And since you've joined the band, I mean, you guys are playing a lot.
She's an engine. She's definitely pushing that. The live, management style that we never really had before. We just kind of took gigs as they came along. No one was actively seeking anything. It's it's just a bowling league. It was a hobby, and she's taking that an nth degree further. Yeah,
and that's the magic of it, because that when you inject it with new blood, then you just start really, because then all the creative juices start flowing.
Well, my husband's a musician, and I've helped him out with his career. I did all the home stuff while he was able to play and tour and do different things. And so I get a lot of, I think, good advice.
Right.
But he knows that, we're not getting any younger. And, we kind of had this conversation before we started the podcast that we're all getting a little bit up there in age. So I just feel like, and I tell the guys all the time, we're not getting any younger. Like, let's do this right now. We still have energy, we still can. I know we're all still working. That's kind of tough.
Right.
Yep.
But, they've been great. I mean, I'm pushing. Every once in a while I get a little pushback, but then everybody usually goes, all right.
Yeah, we still have family obligations. I got twin 17-year-old daughters, and so kids at home, and so still doing all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's still. I mean, it's in the blood. You got to get it out. One way or another. Are you able to shout out your husband or?
Yeah. So my husband is Kevin Hewitt, Kevin Baby. A lot of people know him from Guitar Center. He's a GC Pro guy, and he was in lots of bands in San Diego, but Unsteady is probably the most well-known. He's in Smoke and Mirrors now. Mm-hmm. He's played with countless bands in San Diego.
Oh, yeah, he's
like
a
Lenny.
legend.
He plays Hammond B3 organ, so
yeah,
he's always got somebody who's trying to recruit him. He's been around a long time.
Yeah, I'm very aware. Another legend. That's the greatest thing about it. So now it's kind of your time.
That's my time, and he's like been great. He's he recorded our album.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that maybe.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
So that's kind of now he's kind of moving toward that arena. More recording than he's playing, but I mean he likes to do recording now. That's
and he's still working with John, isn't he?
He is. He and John Roy are still partners.
Yeah,
do a lot of stuff together. Actually, they were doing something today. They were gonna.
They doing sound and stage. Is that?
John does. He has his own company.
Yeah,
John Roy Sound.
Because I talked to him about that when Jerry and I were trying to do some events, and then because I mentor these kids called Magnol Company. But at this point, me trying to do shows and then us trying to do this and then me also trying to, do as many projects as possible, leave it up to the younger, to do that. But I talked to John about possibly working with them if we get a venue somewhere because it's still kind of in limbo. But enough about us. I mean, that's the legacy that you got going on with your husband and now you doing it. How do you feel? I mean, let's kind of poke and prod a little bit. How do you feel getting up on stage?
Do I look nervous? I am not. I am fearless. I am absolutely fearless. Yeah. I'm just going to divulge. I'm 53. Mm-hmm. I have, the beauty of the 50s is that I just have no fear. I don't care anymore.
Yep.
I just don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, and I've already had one, experience where somebody kind of said some disparaging things and I kind of had a process and I realized, some people aren't going to like me. They're not going to like this.
Right.
They're not going to like what we're doing. They're not going to like my lyrics.
Yep.
F them.
That's okay.
And
exactly.
It's punk rock, right?
That's, and that's always what it was to me. So I don't understand, why we're all supposed to think one way.
Right.
And as far as being fearful on stage, no, I am not. I get up there. Last night we had a show that was the best one, and I was all over the place. So
it was good. Played well.
Yeah.
Who'd you guys play with last night?
Brighton Street Bullies and Revolt Chicks and a friend of mine. Some of the guys from English Dogs, actually, they live up in Sacramento. San Clemente. And they came down and they have a band called Distractions right now is their new project.
The OG English Dogs.
Yes. Well, it's the American version of the English Dogs.
Okay. There's about 5 versions of the English Dog.
Yeah, it was Pinch, but it was Ryan Christie and Josh Green. So
okay.
Bass and guitar.
I haven't heard that name in 30 plus years, to be honest.
Yeah.
I used to love them as a kid.
It's a great EP, that Mad Dogs and English Punks.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic EP.
Because that's, going back to the roots. I always found myself more comfortable in the 77 English punk rock, colored punk, leather jackets, mohawk. Like I mentioned to you earlier, I said something on whatever. My wife has been telling me for a couple of days that she needs to shave my head. We're sitting here on the couch and she's telling Boogie, we got to shave Daddy's head. He's going to be podcasting all weekend because she doesn't want me to look like a freaking hippie. Because I had really long hair for a long time. I'm like, I'm turning 55 on Halloween. I'm old. This is who I am. I'm quite comfortable in it because I don't do anything better than to be this. So I just embraced, frickin', I'm going to cut off the hair and I'm going to have a mohawk again. You remember back
I do.
30, God knows, we're looking at almost 35 years now, right?
You were working at 7-Eleven down the street from my house. I was living off Marina Boulevard at the time. I'd always walk in there and buy a beer, and there you would be with your mohawk.
Yeah.
What's up, dude?
That was after Metro then.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew him before then too, but I just run
Yeah.
at work. It's funny. You're at work.
Yeah. The glorious 7-Eleven days. And then that was, before I started mowing lawns again, which I still am doing now, and a bunch of things in between. But we go way back. I mean, we go back to the 9th.
Yep.
The short-lived, early days. And what's funny is I have my books of those days, so I can look up and I can find out wherever you guys had played, when I had booked you and everything in the early days in the dungeon and back when things were really crazy.
Yep.
Because I don't know if you know this, but Jerry and Scott from Blink, the original drummer, are the ones that opened up the new Soma. And then Len came in, and Jerry's a better advocate of telling the story of how that came across. And it's again, what we were talking about yesterday, is that version of the club is the longest standing one.
Yes.
And what, 20 year?
Well, it'll be 21 years
Yeah.
this year.
That's awesome.
Versus Union, which was, I started working booking shows in 89. And then we moved to Metro, and I can't remember the dates. When did Metro open up? 94?
94. Mid I think it was July 94. To be
Yeah.
honest with you.
That to me is still just such a fog. And then I left in 97. And then that's when I went to, I almost said Wiener Schnitzel. That's the original roots. Then I went to 7-Eleven.
Gotcha.
And then I started and eventually started handyman business. And so being able to do all this and get all the stories of people from the past and to be able to share these stories is the greatest thing, because there's so much history in just San Diego alone. So, where's your roots? I mean, Cam, we'll get back to you. But
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, I was making the scene, I guess, barely in the early '80s. I was pretty invisible, but I was around with Cameron and Dennis Quick and all the other folks in '82
Adams
and
Avenue
'83.
Theater.
I have pictures of myself with all the guys at Off the Record and Fear and all that kind of stuff in the newspaper, and just little tiny stuff like that. But I wasn't playing music at that time, obviously. I started playing in the late '80s and never played in bands until 2001 or so. We started messing around.
Okay.
Dennis Quick and I started kind of making music, kind of just, drinking and hanging out in a rehearsal studio that Randy Copeland was renting. Which is the
love
same-
that band name too, by the way.
Yeah, Open Container.
Yeah.
We started this. It was a drinking project, really.
Yeah.
Wasn't
So it was always an
Little bit
open
of music.
container.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we never. I think I have some rough, cell phone demos from that, but we never produced much out of that. But then, like Cameron said, we were at Dennis's house on the patio at Boo Parade. His girls were small. My daughter was a couple years older, but we were all over there doing that. And Alan Clark was there, and we decided to put what ended up being Filner Headlock together.
Yep.
And we started, borrowing rehearsal space with Randy at the Greenfield Studios. And so yeah, I'm a late bloomer. I came into this thing, in the last decade or so.
Well, what gave you the confidence to actually start doing it? It's just itching at you, or?
Well, like I said, I played for a long time, but it was just home bedroom type stuff. And, Dennis was such a super punk rock fan that what happened was he was always, going on and on about this and that. And I was like, Dennis, why I play guitar. Why don't we do this? Why don't we do something?
Yeah.
So, and Randy had the studio, and Dave Nestor was also involved in that open container thing too. So, and
You play bass on it, or?
Dave Nestor was playing drums. Dennis was supposed to be playing bass, but he didn't know how to play bass at all. And Randy was supposed to sing, but he never really wrote any music for it. And I was on guitar. But so yeah, But it was fun. We partied in that studio for like a year and a half.
Good excuse to go boys club it and drink some beers.
Yeah. But it got me in the atmosphere, you know. And then over at one of those Boo Parade things, we had all the components at that one, out on that patio, and we started to do it for real. We booked a spot and we went down there and you set up your drums and we started learning covers with Alan, and we learned like about 11 or 12 covers. And yeah, and it was great. We, Dennis has his Jim Rowe fan club. That's how he started promoting shows.
Okay.
Is, he that was something that he put on like in the late 80s, early 90s. It was like, wasn't every year like it is now. It was like every decade, I guess, or every 5 years or something.
Yeah.
And then he turned it into an annual event. But that's how we would get a show, because I don't think anybody was going to book us as Filner Headlock unless Dennis figured out that he had to put the show on, and that's kind of what started his promotion thing.
Yeah.
So
The full DIY ethics.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then the chili dog kind of came out of that too. He got this idea that, people want to come and get a free chili dog.
It's not wrong. He's not wrong.
No, it works.
Bribe you with food.
It works.
Yeah.
So that's how I came into this.
Okay, so when did the band actually come up with a name and then with this to bring in Knikki eventually? How did that come to pass?
You mean Wabash? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we got together a year and a half ago. And yeah, we've always enjoyed the band naming process.
Yeah.
So it's a fun time because we're all texting back all these ideas and stuff. So it didn't take us too long. We really, Strict 999 took forever to come up with that.
That was Dennis's.
It actually took so long that I started taking Rotex tape and writing all the possible band names and sticking them to the front of my guitar.
So you wouldn't forget?
So I have just kind of memorializing all these fantastic band
Compare
names
and contrast.
that we had, but yeah, we so I think it took us about a month or so to come up with Wabash, and it means something different to all of us. I mean, definitely, it's the venue,
Right.
and it doesn't really have much to do with a ghost train or anything to do like that, or an actual cannon. But yeah,
Cannonball.
that was a loud club, and I think that was some inspiration for all of us.
That makes sense to me. Because the initial, when I first seen the name, I thought of the club immediately, and then it's the booming sound.
Yep.
So it makes more sense when we share this. It's going to open up the eyes to a lot of people. So Cam, let's go do a deep dive on your roots, since we've you've been around a little while, been playing for a while.
Yeah, a little while. Like Knikki said, I've known her since she was about 14. I was in a band in Poway called The Infected, which was Robert Quinn, Mike Sangri, Chuck Petrowski. We never really played out. We played in Poway and some parties, this and that, but never really took off. And from that, we came up with Puzzle Box, and we actually started playing out, and you booked us. And
Wasn't that through Unwritten Law that I found you through?
Yeah.
One of the Ramona shows?
Yeah, we played with Unwritten Law often. We actually played at the Texas Tea House with Tilt Wheel and Unwritten Law, and
Yep.
a couple of those shows, Nobi.
Yeah.
Because PK brings up Puzzle Box. I remember on his podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. Pat from Sprung and then Unwritten Law and all that.
Yep. Unwritten Law guys are great. I still know Wade. We chit chat. I love his North Korea band. Is awesome.
Yeah.
Just came up from the Poway scene, then from Puzzle Box. We did that for how many? Probably 6-8 years.
It's a while.
And then I moved to Las Vegas. That kind of parted ways. That I came back and we started up again. And then Rob had moved to Tennessee, so I got in a band called PBR Street Gang. If you remember those guys, they're young kids. I was an old guy. I actually auditioned out of the Reader.
Oh, really?
Old
Again, the
30s.
Reader, Jerry. The Reader gets brought up.
Always.
So I actually did a cold audition with these guys. They're like, yeah, please.
Yeah.
Join the band. So they're all like in their teens, like 19s and 20s, and I'm like in my 30s. I'm like, it was a little odd, but it was fun. They're great kids.
Yeah.
We played with them for quite a while and had a big following. We used to play that place in Miramar. What was that place? And we'd sell it out. It was
Miramar.
The Epicenter?
Epicenter. Thank you. Kids would show up. It was great. It was weird to be in a band with people actually come to see you and we're into buying your merch and stuff. So it was weird for me because Puzzle Box, it was big, but it wasn't that big.
Right. Yeah.
And from there, Confederates. I was with them for many, many years. I was the second
didn't know
drummer.
that.
Still are, really.
Yeah, I still play with them. With Ugly Lenny. Davey Tiltwheel was the original bass player, and then Grant Nolet.
Okay. Was Darren?
Darren,
In?
yep.
Okay.
Puzzle Box, that's how that be that connection. Puzzle Box used to play with River Bottom Nightmare downtown. Some weird place of college. It was like a cafe with all this glass in the front, and these skinheads came and busted glass one time. It was crazy.
Oh, would that be the living room?
I think so. It was right on like downtown on College, across from City College. Big giant plate glass windows. Anyway, some punks smashed the whole front end. That was the end of the shows there. And then I was in a band called Media Backlash. That was Robert came back from. That was right before he moved to Tennessee. He got back into music, and we started doing this band for quite a while. Chris, our guitarist, who was in PBR, was the guitarist. He hung himself.
Oof.
After his brother hung himself about a month earlier. So that was a pretty rough, ugly time. He played guitar in Virus.
Okay.
Not Virus, Chief Sex, sorry, with Mike Virus. Chris Wick
and,
was the guitarist.
What's his name? Chancy Pants.
Yes, exactly.
Who, again, another rest in peace, Chancy Pants. I have a sort of a butterfly moth tattoo on my chest underneath the beard, and it's crooked as hell. It's just a statement of Chancy Pants tattooing me for free. I went there drunk, and he's like, "Yeah, I got time," and so he put it on there crooked. I even looked at it and went, "All right, whatever."
It is what it is.
So, to me, whenever I look at it, I crack up. But I mean, it's the only tattoo I haven't, because he had the big. We were trying to do this urinary, and I came up with the symbol, one of the snake eating the arrow sort of thing, and I tattooed it on him horribly the first time I'd ever used a machine, and not ...
I have some of those tattoos.
But yeah, oh God, I'm covered in that crap. But I love every one of them. But yeah, Chance was quite the character, and I remember he was doing Cheap Sex for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then what ended up happening after that? Because your resume now is just getting longer and longer. I'm going, damn, how come we didn't run into each other back more?
Yeah, I don't know. So Confederates, Darren moved to Oregon and started a roofing company up there. So they had the Oregon version of the Confederates, and actually Grant would fly up there and play with them once in a while. And I was doing something else down here. I can't even remember. I had twin daughters, and for about a period of 5 years, I didn't play for a while. I was just focused on them, and I got the itch and came back.
Yeah.
Started playing with these guys. Yeah, I've only not been in a band probably about 4 years of my life, since about 14 years old up. So I've been drumming that long.
Damn. I think it's been, like we were talking about earlier, I think it's been about 14 years since I've been on stage.
Yeah.
Which is the reason why I'm overwhelming myself with as many projects as possible. Again, realistically, we're at that age now where I'm comfortable doing it. I've got my landscaping going. I've got the skateboard company kind of, mellowed out and working. We got the podcast, but I'm just antsy to get out and play.
Do it.
So I'm watching how much you guys are playing, and how did that just all of a sudden? I mean, you're all over the place. You get all these rad gigs. It's all you.
It's her.
Knikki,
It's that
really?
lady across the table right there. She's a marketing animal.
Humble about it. It's just like, yeah, whatever. I'm just.
Yeah, no, I have a ton of energy. I'm like the Energizer Bunny.
Yeah.
So I'm everywhere. And when I started singing with these guys, I just made a job, really. I hate to say it because I love it. I'm not complaining by any means, but I just made it a mission. I was going to go to shows every weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to introduce myself to these bands.
Yep.
And talk about singing and talk about playing with these guys. You remember the old Strict 999? Well, they're now called Wabash Cannons. I'm the singer. Again, fearless. So would just go right up to somebody and start talking about it. And one thing led to another. And before I know it, I started meeting some of the owners of these clubs.
Mm-hmm.
So I've gotten to be friends with Mick, Rob Logic, Brett, all the guys that own all the main clubs.
Yeah.
And then I'm working my way into some of these fringe venues now. So I've actually befriended some of the people at Bolt Brewing. I'm actually going to do a show there in June. That's our next show.
Okay.
And
I'm at Nate gig. You should come. Drink some beers.
yeah, it's going to be great.
What's the date?
Yeah.
June 10th.
June 10th.
June
Okay.
10th. Yeah, if we could plug it at the end, that'd be rad.
Yeah.
Yeah. This, I don't think we'll get this out by then, but
Oh, okay.
I'm
Well-
definitely going to, we're going to have to do some pictures and we're going to have to promote it. So we can
Okay.
use it for the social media and all that.
Yes, please.
And then also, if we do that, then I can remind my wife so that we can go, because we started going out to some shows. So this is, we'll keep that stream of consciousness. We got to make sure and do a full social media blast on everything you guys are doing.
And that's good. That's a good segue. So, social media. I am kind of the queen of social media.
Yeah.
I know you and I are both on there. I see
Yeah.
you comment a lot on my things.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny because these two, Cam and Adam, they're not really on. They have accounts, but they don't like to be on there. And I understand because it takes a lot of
Dislike it.
time and, but I don't mind so much. I'm used to it. It's something I'm comfortable with because I think, some people just gravitated toward it and some people really rejected it.
Yeah.
And because I understand it, and now I'm learning so much about algorithms and metadata, I'm on there and I've kind of figured out a few things about promoting. Promoting
These are
is
things
the
that, yeah.
key to success.
Yeah.
That's how you get gigs.
And it's funny because back in the day, like when every book and, the shows at Soma, so we would do flyers. And mind you, it even changed from when I was, in 89 up until Metro. And then when Jerry ended up taking over my place at the club, and you had more and more things like we were talking about it yesterday, the voicemail. So you can call up the hotline to find out about things. I never wanted to do that, but yet I'm more comfortable putting old vintage Halloween costume pictures on the internet and then putting question everything. And I get people that look at it and go, what the fuck is he up to now? Well, probably sitting here having a glass of wine and bored. And then I go and I look at a couple of things and fuck that. And then, my mind just wanders and then I put something creepy that makes me smile.
There you go.
But it's to be able to promote nowadays. I mean, even with working with these kids, the Magnol company, it's a different world. I mean, you have to understand the algorithms and it's a completely different job. I mean, you with, twin daughters, you know how it is, Cameron. It's
They're all in. They're in, man.
They're on the couch talking to each other.
They show me how to do shit on my phone. So
That's if I let my daughter know, who lives on the other side of the house, that dinner's ready. I mean, I'll go and bang on the door and yell, "Dinner's ready," and then I might hear like a foot drop because she's on her computer with her headphones on, and it's like I think she heard, or it could have been one of her cats. But if I text her,
yeah,
and then I tell her, it's something that's really good that I made, oh, she's out. She ping, and right into the kitchen. Hey, what's up? What's going on? How's it going? She might even still have her headphones on, and the cord is dragging on the floor.
it's funny.
So is social media something that are you like a computer nerd, or like, let's get to, I mean, really, because I want to learn from this.
No, but I'm a teacher. I'm a high school teacher. So, I've been a high school teacher now. This is my 26th year, almost my 27th year. So I've been around kids for a long time. Plus I have my own kids that are 20 and 22.
Okay. My daughter's 22 as well.
So like, and when you're working with kids, you better know how they communicate.
Oh yeah.
So, in that way, I guess I was lucky. I understood all these different things as they've come through the Snapchat and the Insta and of course Facebook, TikTok. Well, honestly, I took TikTok off my phone, but I don't want to get into that, the whole China thing. But anyway, so I understood how to get stuff going on there, and it's a great tool if you know how to use it.
Yeah.
And it's really the only tool for advertising now, although it's funny that you were talking about putting up flyers and stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys knew this, Cameron and Adam, but I actually have been taking flyers down to Animated. I live in La Mesa.
Okay.
And I've been taking flyers down and putting them up.
I miss doing that. That was a lot of fun.
It's kind of
part
fun,
of the process.
actually.
Street team.
Yeah.
Kind of had a street team of friends that would go do it and spend a day. And
Yeah, you got to find the wood. We were, again, this is another thing we were talking about, the wood. And I would go around the high schools and find the wood telephone poles.
Yep.
And if you just put one on one side, then, you're going to get like a quarter of your audience. If you can get enough time and not get caught and wrap them around the whole pole.
Totally.
And then in my case, skate down to the next one with Silas. And then we wrap another pole. We run out of staples, and it's like, fuck it, we're going back. I'm going to go drink. I don't know about you, Si.
And what Noel brought up yesterday, which was the first time I ever heard of that, they would go into high schools after hours, and they would put flyers in every locker.
That's a great idea.
Oh, that's cool.
That was a brilliant idea. I never even nobody ever said that back in the day that that's what they did. But every kid at every school had open a locker and there's a flyer in there for the show.
And again, it was the Poway because Noel was from the classified out of Poway, so he's a little bit younger than us. But it's if you can hear this on the mic, Jerry, can you hear? A
little bit, 10 years younger than us.
Can you hear Boogie barking? I mean, not barking, snoring over here. Oh God, classic Pugsley. But he's a loud snorer, so
that's a pug.
That's the atmospheric noise. But if you knew someone at Kinko's, then you can get everything printed. And if you were savvy about it, you would have basically you could cut it into fours. So you get one flyer.
Yeah.
For the you get four for the price of one, and you can really promote. I mean, we had the fluorescent cards that we did, the papers 8.5 by 11 posters, and then Len every now and again would get the bigger posters. And shout out to Hope because she was our graphic artist for years. So I would have to go in there and make sure that she spelled whatever name correctly because some of the names were, a little bit kind of different, and some of them were a little obnoxious.
Nicknames or
Skunk Snod and some of my bands, but that's the whole thing. I miss flyering.
Well, and I've got what's old is new again. So
is it
I'm back to Kinko's now. So
really,
one thing I do is when I go see all these bands on the weekend, and I'm known to see 2 or 3 shows on a weekend. I am actually taking paper flyers on cardstock, and handing them out and saying, "Hey, we're playing in a couple of weeks." And it's kind of awkward if you do it like if there's a show at the Kenanima Tower, but I figure it's all good. I mean, I do it for the opposite way too, so I hope the owners are cool with it, but. So far, it's been great.
If they're not, then someone will come out and say, "Hey, get the fuck off my property," and you go, "Yes."
I don't think they would, but
hey, do you remember when people used to flyer Soma for other venues? You remember that?
Oh yeah,
and we used to rip them off.
Of course you did.
I don't put them up on the wall or anything. I just, hey, we're playing.
Well, they would go through the parking lot, and we just chase mainly because just fuck you, just for something to do. I mean, you get as many shows as we were doing. Eventually, I would be out there sometimes just freezing in the winter, bored out of my ass. Someone come through with flyers. Do I feel like running and chasing this person off? How much of a dick do I feel like today?
Just to warm up.
I feel like an asshole, so I'm going to chase this person off. And then, I'll take the flyer and look at, oh, fuck, I should go to this show. Am I working now? It's a Thursday. I can go to this. I can go and scout bands. But that's whole part of the process. I mean, you guys,
I miss that aspect of it.
How about you, Adam? You ever get into the...
Yeah, I used to live in Rolando, so I used to walk past Off the Record every day on my way home from school, and that was the only way that you would know about a show.
Yeah,
is picking up that flyer at Off the Record, and
or the reader.
The reader. You had the reader. That's true, but I was probably. I wasn't really into the reader yet because I was still a child. But, I'm coming home from Horace Mann Junior High School and I'm popping into Off the Record and seeing these flyers for,
Was Cliff working there at that time?
You know what? It was probably a little before he worked there, but it was all through that whole 81 through 84, that whole time period. So my room was pretty much plastered with all those flyers of those.
Don't you wish you had those now?
I do.
Right?
There's a lot of people. Yeah, I have
still
people
have
that reached out, and you guys are. I have a few, and they're trashed. To be completely honest, I'm amazed I still have my books. But people that you kept that, I mean,
I kept all of them, and they're still in good shape. And I just got some
amazing
from Paul Lima when the Skullbusters were doing their album. They used some flyers for a collage.
Their latest album, yeah.
Their latest album for Vampires. They did a flyer collage in there, so I was able to get some of the flyers that I always wanted. Copies of them, so it was cool.
I have manila folder just full of them. I lent them out to somebody. I think I knew who, but I'm not going to call him out. He's still a friend of mine, but he never returned them, so he was going to go photocopy them.
Don't call him out.
I was thinking the same thing.
I was in the band.
Get him back.
I was in a band with him when they first started, Barnyard Ballers. So I was drumming for them when they're.
Oh,
You were with
They first did their first recording.
really?
Yeah.
See, again, I mean, I've brought up Spike before, and I'm wondering if he's still doing his Pomp Spike.
Yeah, I think he is. He started a new band in Austin, the Crazy Flyers or something.
yeah,
like that.
I just saw some posts.
Yeah,
See,
looking
that's
good.
brilliant.
Yeah, they look great.
Yeah, he's looking good.
And he's back at it.
Yep.
God, I got chills right now thinking about it. See, this is the greatest thing about being able to do this and tell the stories. Is Jerry and I say a lot. We forget about this. I mean, Jerry will bring up shit about shows that I'm like, was I there? And I give him this look. Was I there?
How many
Oh
beers?
yeah, I was. And then he'll remember the date, and because there's so much that I completely forgotten about. Because when I'm mowing lawns, I'm thinking about making sure my lines are straight, not what show I did in '94. Let alone the big ones that are monumental. Our New Year's shows. I forget about them.
What 100 shows you did in '94?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the thing.
it's freaking crazy. But the other thing too is to be able to share these and to get other people to start thinking about it. And then when we get into logistics of promoting and how you're talking about everything's coming full circle, I love to hear about people going out and flyering. Because as we were talking about with John from Beta 7, he's trying to do these shows, and he's got some opportunities lined up with some venues. And wow, that was a good one. Huh? if you all heard that, that's
I don't think it'll be picked up on the after you get it mastered. It won't be on there.
that's true. But yeah, but nonetheless, yeah, Pugsley's definitely snoring hard.
That's so cute.
But this is his solace is to sit here with us and talk, anyways. But the old flyers. There's a guy on YouTube that we've talked about doing a YouTube thing as well, and my wife and I are trying to figure it out. But again, I'm not that savvy. So, but there's a guy, just to call him out. I forget who it is. I think it's the Punk Rock MBA channel. So he's got this a full wall of all these flyers. So I sent him a message on the Instagram, and unlike Eddie Vedder, he actually answered. And he says he got them all online. So my wife goes online and she's looking. She found them. There's a flyer the 9th. And I told him in the message, because I basically wanted to beat him up. I want that fucking flyer. And then I think there's short-lived stuff and just, I mean, literally his studio that he does his work in is amazing. All these old-time flyers. And I'm like, how the hell did you have all those flyers? And the fact that you have them, Adam, I mean, those are gold right now. Have you had anyone hit you up going, hey, you should have those in the Punk Rock Museum?
No, I don't think many people know that I have them.
Well, until this gets out.
I know I shocked Paul when he was pulling out his flyers, and then I sent over like a batch, like a screenshot or a picture of some of the cooler ones that I have. And he, because I was really low profile back in the early 80s, I was, social anxiety, I don't know what it was, but I had my little group of friends, but I didn't, I wasn't much of a scenester. So a lot of people don't remember me, is my point. But it's funny because I have a flyer for a party that Cameron and his crew were putting on. And I pulled that out like a year ago or a year and a half ago.
The party never happened.
It's got his wife's contact information on it and all this stuff. And Cameron's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe that you have that."
I couldn't. That blew my mind, actually.
Because I mean, nobody remembers me from back then, but I saved that flyer for their Punks Unite party in Poway.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I guess I was there. There's like very slim proof, but a few things like that.
There's a gig on Black Mountain Road. It never happened. Out in the middle of nowhere. No, it didn't happen.
Because I didn't go. I got it at a party in PB. I was hanging out with Paul Lockhart. I don't know if anybody remembers.
Paul was awesome.
Paul Lockhart, but me and him used to get into a little bit of trouble, and I remember you and Alan came rolling into this party like you always did. And I'm
looking for this poster, Texas Tea House, while you're talking. So
yeah,
continue.
But yeah, so it's the flyers are fun. I don't try to grab the ones that I didn't have much to do with. But yeah, you can go on eBay and you can get flyers for LA or San Diego flyers, or you can get T-shirts. I have a T-shirt with a Misfits flyer on it from 6 months before I started going to shows, because my parents, for good or bad, they wouldn't let me go outside at nighttime until I was 16 years old. So I missed in 1981. I missed like all these fantastic shows until I could go out and make the scene. But so yeah, it was a good time back then, and I have those flyers.
Well, that's cool. Well, what's your reaction now, Knikki, with passing out flyers? Are people receptive?
I think they're surprised because, it's so unusual now, but I think they kind of like it. Yeah. And also it's a little keepsake, it's a little memento. If they're into it, if they like the band, if they like any of the bands that are on it. I actually think that I've had a couple of people say it's a really good idea.
See, so it is working, because that's something my wife and daughter, for my birthday last year, they got some whatchamacallit, not from Tang, somewhere up in LA, some flyers and some other fanzines. It's one of the big record stores up there. Amoeba. Okay. So a bunch of just random flyers and stuff from there. And when I was going through them all, I'm like, oh, I'm saving this. Right. And I'm looking through them like, I'm not going to go to any of these shows. We're not freaking going up to LA to go to a show, especially on a Thursday or Wednesday. I'm in bed at 8, but I'm looking through them and I found so much nostalgia, and it reminds me of the fanzines, like, not only MMR or MRR, but down here, Larry had genetic disorder.
Mm-hmm.
Black Market.
Yeah. And, what was my wife back in the day was going to do actually she did a fanzine before I did. And then I was doing other side, trying to put that together, which turned into a tape, which ended up turning into eventually me booking at Soma. So I have so much nostalgia for that. Even like Flipside. I have a couple Flipside magazines. Somewhere.
So Adam collects Flipsides. He's got a pretty full collection going.
I have almost a complete collection.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
I'm missing... from the early ones from 76, 77, I'm missing like 4 of those early ones.
Oh, wow.
And, I think I go into the mid 90s. So
when did
pretty complete.
When did Flipside end?
I want to say 2001.
2001.
But I'm not totally sure. Those, I'm not totally interested in those later ones, but I'm trying to fill in the 90s and all that. But yeah, I've got on eBay right now, there's a Flipside 16. I already have it, but there's one on eBay that's in really good condition. It has Fear on the cover of it.
Yeah.
And it's $300.
Did you get all the Flipside videos?
I have one Flipside video, but the quality is pretty rough.
Because I remember Lou's used to have a couple.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really into that. And then Knikki turned me on to Black Market. I started buying those. Those are super fun because of the artwork. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's Mark Rude has great stuff in there, and Lee and Guff. and you know those things are just full of those guys' artwork, and if you can't not like that stuff.
Yeah, a lot of that was interpreted on skateboards as well.
Yeah.
Let's jump in really quick so we can get this out of the way, because skateboarding is a tie to everything. Who here skates still? See, that's Nick. No, why not?
I'm afraid. Break a hip.
Well, I was skateboard the back of my car. Actually, I have it with me all
little
the time.
late to start that one, I think.
Yeah, it's with me all the time, just in case. But I didn't drive this car, so I saw your bowl. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
He got excited.
Well, I mean, you're welcome anytime.
Yeah, he's
you know.
It looks like he might have a deck around you could use.
Oh yeah, there's a few. You can't ride my wife's, but yeah, I've got.
There's a bunch of completes right here.
Yeah, I've got there's, I don't know, 30, 40, maybe
Completes.
50 that are rideable, unless you want to ride metal wheels or
No, good. Clay.
because that opens up over there on that wall is where the clay and composite wheels are.
So I only ride urethane wheels, man. The clear ones. On the penny boards, the penny decks.
Oh yeah, it's funny. So up here, these are old on the Trans World trophy board. Those are old cryptos, the for skates and sure grip trucks.
That's cool.
But I have some new old school or new old stock Cadillacs on one of the boards around here. It's
It's like
something.
a museum.
You know what I used to love was the old Bigfoots, the Dogtown Bigfoots.
Yeah.
It was just a giant fucking deck you could not fall off on. It was my favorite pool deck because you wouldn't fall off it. You could,
Yeah.
Anything you did, you'd stay on it.
I think the biggest that I've pressed and shaped was a 10 3/4, but I could press 12, just under 12 inch. So it'd be like 11 7/8. But then, the edge would be a little, not quite to my likings, but I love all that old stuff. And the skateboarding with punk rock and everything comes in. It just sort of, the more and more, I guess, that we dive into it, the more and more I'm realizing so many people skated, because when I was running Soma, it was nothing I ever talked about. I just figured I was a freak that rode skateboards and I liked Halloween and coffins, and I was, complete freak. Now, especially because of Otis, which keeps coming up in conversations, rest in peace.
Yep.
Skateboarding as punk rock has been they're just, basically the same thing. Synonymous the whole time.
That was my gateway. I was living in Palm Springs, going to junior high school there, and there was nothing to do there. It was a retirement town, so we'd find abandoned houses, empty pools, and we'd take the buckets and we'd get it out and clean it, and we'd just skate the shit out until the cops showed up. But I was in the Kiss Army, and I was into all that weird, back then Kiss was pretty, get my monthly mailer from the Kiss Army. And then a friend of mine brought back, no, it's not true. I was skating, it's called the Taco Bowl in Palm Springs, and somebody brought a tape deck with TSOL in it. I'm like, holy shit, what is this? So Kiss went off the walls, and I was suddenly going to shows, and I was like, fuck this. I was putting Vaseline in my hair, trying to, make it look spiky, and then I get my hands on egg whites and all that shit, and I was just getting getting
Knox
weird.
gelatin.
Yeah. I love
When
Knox.
all you need is I was trying to explain this to a kid the other day, because there's this kid that plays in a band and his mohawk's always falling down immediately.
Knox.
Just the pink can of Aquanet. That's all or you could do the Cliff Cunningham, Waddy from the Exploited version, where this is the rumor. I'm still want to talk to Cliff about this, but I've known about this for years, that supposedly Waddy would just, on an iron board, would lay down, and then Cliff
ironed his
would
hair.
iron it.
And then I've heard that
I
before.
knew I had a couple of friends that were girls that they would use a crimper,
Yeah.
but the pink can of Aquanet.
Yeah, I don't think you can buy that.
I don't think that
You get that?
exists
Yeah,
anymore.
that's-
I hate to tell you, the CFCs.
That's
they got rid
environmentally
of.
unfriendly
Yeah.
now. You couldn't buy Aquanet to save your
You
life.
can't buy that one
Ozone.
anymore.
Yeah,
Ozone.
But that was the best.
yeah. I mean, it worked. I mean, granted, the ozone in whatever room you used was basically like gelatin afterwards, and
And not only that, you could use it as a flamethrower.
Did that.
There
Yeah.
was that.
A lot of fun.
And that's actually to come full circle again on that. We were looking at. You have the pictures, right? At Rancid.
Yeah.
At Metro.
Yep.
I still to this day wish I took the picture, but Lars was there when Rancid was playing. Lars was putting up Lint or Tim. I'm the only person that still calls him Lint. Putting up his Hawk, and there was one plug in the green room at the Metro location. I think you might remember that. And so my girlfriend Allison at the time, is way past. One of my singers for Poor, Judah, was putting up Allison's hair, and they were switching the hair dryer. Lars and Judah were switching the hair dryer and the hairspray, while Allison was getting her Hawk put up, and Lint was getting his Hawk put up. And now I'm looking, every time I think about it, I'm like, fuck, if I would have got that picture. It was so classic, but I just looked and went, fuck you guys. Because, I'm working, Rancid's playing, and my girlfriend and my singer are there enjoying the show, while I'm like, oh, God, here we go again. But it was just such a classic. And it's the pink can, I should use that. You should use it on a flyer.
That's a great idea. Well, actually, I've been trying to. We're going to play with Doll Riot.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know Doll Riot?
No, I don't know.
We got to talk. I got some bands to turn you on.
Oh yeah. Please.
So I'll give them a shout out. So Doll Riot are 16, 17, and 18-year-old girls.
Oh wow.
Punk rock band.
Okay. That gave me chills because I'm playing with an 18-year-old drummer right now that I recruited.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's not Paloma, is it?
No, David.
Oh, okay.
David, his partner is booking the Che Cafe.
Oh,
I can't remember his last name offhand. We've only jammed a couple times. He came in as a guitarist, and then I said I had this idea, and then he got on the drums. So we're forming it, but it's the new blood is it's exciting.
Well, these girls are
like
great.
I said, I work with Magnol companies, so mentoring them. So
That's
Doll
awesome.
Riot.
Yeah, so Doll Riot. So check them out.
Yeah.
So we're going to play with them July 2nd at Bancroft. And I'm working with Rob right now. I'm really trying to figure out a way to make this so that we can have like an indoor and an outdoor stage.
Okay.
So that potentially we could have younger people come and, and see the show too, because it's a bar, licensed bar, so he can't have the kids inside. The kids can play, but they have to step out.
So that's still San Diego law.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Whereas
is.
LA, you can have all ages with alcohol.
Oh, really? That's
Oh,
true.
really?
Of course you
In-
can.
in a
You
bar?
get a wristband
Yep.
or something,
Yeah, even they're doing it at
Everywhere in
the new
California
summer.
except for San Diego.
Yep.
And I
Oh.
think it's the do, and I brought this up in the past too. I think it has to do with Mexico, because if you're you can drink in Mexico 18.
Right.
So I think it's something where we'll just push the kids over to Mexico.
Huh.
So I don't know. I don't know what it is, but
Well-
why would one city in the whole state do that?
Apparently during COVID, the rules really lightened up. There was
Right.
nobody really, Vice or whatever, wasn't enforcing a lot of the code. And I'm not saying that he was breaking the law by any means,
Right.
but he was doing a lot of shows outside because of COVID. Because
you
they
can.
really couldn't be inside legally.
Yeah, we were all cooped up like ridiculously it's been 3 years now, and it devastated people.
It devastated.
We won't get into that
I
right
know.
now because I'm just going to start flipping people.
Did anybody go to any drive-in concerts?
I
during
didn't. I
COVID?
didn't do that, but I had friends that did the drive-in concert.
Yeah, because in Ventura they had that at the fairgrounds. It was everybody would just drive their cars in, and they charged per car. They didn't charge per person. It was just one flat rate. And then they set up a stage in the middle of the parking lot, and everybody would pull their
Who
cars
do we know
in.
that played one of those? Don't we know someone that was it? Jay
I think
Jay Navarro?
no. I think Oingo Boingo former members did
did
that in
Okay.
Ventura. And then we had one in Oxnard, out on the parking lot of the Oxnard Civic Center, and it was Pulley and Stalag 13.
There we go. Yeah.
And I can't remember the opening band, but I went to that. I didn't go to the Ventura Fairgrounds.
So you can't
pretty
even
pricey.
skate to one of those. They'd be like, nope, go get a fucking car.
Yeah. So, don't get me going. I'll get in trouble. I'll get more trouble. I'm
And
already in.
I think Snoop Dogg did it too in Ventura.
Oh, really?
I don't think they were doing that down here. I didn't see anything that would have
Yeah,
interested me.
I know there was like drive-in events where during COVID where people were going in, and they weren't shows though. They were like,
I was thinking they were going to actually bring drive-ins back because nobody could go into a theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that would have been actually pretty cool because just that whole thing was so pathetically not well thought out and just so oppressive. But it's great fodder for lyrics now, and that's being because me being a lyricist, I say I do vocals because I don't. When I sing, it has to usually be pretty buzzed, and then I'm mocking something but trying to do better. So if I'm doing, pick whatever singer, Michael Jackson, and I start really mocking him. And I really can belt out. But other than that, I don't frickin' sing. You've heard, Cameron, you've heard me sing and,
I can't sing.
Poor, and you probably, did you ever hear Cockroach, and which was kind of an
think
assault
so.
on the senses?
I have some fuzzy memory on a lot of that timeline, honestly.
Yeah, that
Fuzzy
unfortunate-
logic. I'll call it that. Fuzzy logic.
Yeah, but, coming back, so we're with the lyrics, let's go with that is lyric-wise.
Oh, boy.
Okay, so what's getting you in trouble here? I mean, we got enough. The last 3 years was hell.
It was, and I hope in retrospect, that's always something we are in the light of as we talk now. You know
Right.
what I mean? So I just was somebody who I had a lot of questions.
Right.
I didn't.
Right.
I wasn't. I didn't jump right in with both feet and believe as a teacher, especially as a teacher, I was horrified when they closed the schools.
Right.
I work in juvenile hall,
Yeah.
and when on Friday the 13th, March 13th, 2020, when they called us into that office and they said, by order of the County of San Diego, you're going home today and you're to return here in 2 weeks. We're closing the schools across the county. I was mortified.
Yeah.
I was like, this is not going to be good for kids. This isn't going to be good for anyone.
Right.
And from that disgust and fear, not of the virus, but just of what was going to happen to the mental health of children,
Mm-hmm.
I started writing.
Oh,
And
okay.
I have tomes of writing. I
Yeah.
mean, I have books and books and books that I wrote all during that time. And so, good or bad, I don't know. But when Wabash formed, that's what I brought. And
Yeah.
that's what I sing about mostly right now. Although some things are starting to change. We've got a couple of songs that we're working on right now. And I'm trying, as Cameron said to me one day, it's okay to sing about something happy.
It's kind of like the song we started out with, Cancel Culture.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And everything's kind of in that vein. So all that stuff was written during COVID. And it's all kind of in that theme. A lot of it, if you go through the Spotify stuff and you look, it's pretty obvious. I'm right out there. It's like on my sleeve, right? It's like science is about Fauci.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Won't
Flip-flop
do anything
Fauci.
is about our administration currently.
Mm-hmm. Hey, let's
I know. I'm
No,
sorry. I
speak
feel a
the
little
truth. I mean,
apologetic because
We're living in scary times.
I know it gets
don't
me, and
apologize.
it's not. And I'm not saying that one side is better than the other because they are
And
not
what-
in my mind.
right.
You know, and
I
what's
agree.
weird is when we were growing up, it was the Cold War.
Yeah.
And we're gonna get nuked.
Yeah.
Now we're looking at China.
It's pretty close to, I think we're closer to getting nuked now than we ever were back in the 80s,
agree.
quite honestly.
Yep.
Well, I'm worried about getting my spandex pants from China because,
They might be laced with something.
Wait a minute. I mean, oh, sorry.
Did that just slip?
But no, with my lyrics too, I tend to, I use environmental things in my environment always for my lyrics. And right now my wife is writing a lot of stuff. So she's writing a lot of angst because she used to be a writer. She was very prolific. For many years just had this writer's block, but now there's just so many things going on, and having a 22 turning 23 in June that is living under our roof because unlike me at 17 and being a parent, and she's the youngest of all the, I should probably get this on the record. I'm still a stepdad and a surrogate dad to a couple handful of kids. I don't have any blood relation. No one. I'm a dumb old Irish guy, and I have not been able to reproduce, and that's probably nature saying, "Yeah, we've seen your track record, and no, we
Leave the gene pool alone.
we saw the band Cockroach, and we decided the gods have decided you are not going to reproduce." But I mean, trying to shelter her from a lot of my bands and the things that I've done. Just being a punk rocker my whole life, and things now. The idea of her being out on her own, she can't afford it.
Mm-hmm. No, they cannot.
She has a full-time job.
Mm-hmm.
She went to school, but then, as you were saying earlier, when COVID hit, that's when she had to drop out of college because she couldn't go. So she wasn't going to pay for it. She wasn't going to do at-home studying because if you're at home doing everything online, you're doing a bong hit and you're playing video games.
Yeah.
It's a different culture, and they grew up in that. So when the whole world shut down, we knew right away there was no way that she can be out on her own. And that's unfortunately just the way things are. So if we're going out and we're using this as fodder for lyrics, it's a therapy. And if people have the opportunity to, as nowadays, they can either cancel us and fuck them.
Yeah.
Go fucking, why don't you, do something and actually vote, or we won't get into. So we use it for fodder for lyrics, and people have the opportunity to not listen.
That's right.
Punk rock has always been political commentary, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I am a huge Buzzcocks fan, and Descendants. I love a good love story, a love song, which is almost all the Buzzcocks and almost all Descendants. I love that.
999.
Yeah, I love that side of things. But also, I love the political commentary that comes out of a lot of the bands that I enjoy. So.
Yeah, I mean, you go everything from.
The thing I find odd though is with some of the punk rock, especially some of the old school punk bands, they're kind of hypocrites.
I totally agree.
God,
Yeah,
yes.
a lot of my friends turned on me for my views of questioning things.
Yeah.
Things weren't cohesive and didn't make sense to me. I'm like, that doesn't make sense.
I thought punk rock was anti-government,
Yeah.
but yet they vote for more government. I don't get it.
That's actual.
And Jeremy
lyric
and I
for
have
my
this-
songs.
Yeah.
Have this
There you go.
talk every
Yeah.
once in a while.
Yeah, because it comes. I mean, I've still to this day feel like whenever I'm in the scene, I feel like I have a target on my back because of who I am and because of the politics and everything. And people get so extreme in their ideas, and somehow I have something to do with it because of booking all these bands at Soma. And sorry if I didn't book your fucking band. Maybe because you fucking suck. Got that off my chest.
But hey, we still book bands that sucked.
I know
come
that's
on.
the thing. I don't understand why.
You had to fill, the quota or the gap or whatever.
Yeah, well, realistically, I
Gotta do
figured
6 bands. Come on.
I figured I'd give everyone a chance, but then when people started to get egos, that's when I started to see things, and when I started to realize me being a punk rocker, and I would tell people straight up to their face, I don't like your music, but I like you. I think you have to have an opportunity. It's not what I like. I mean, if you sound like Venom, great. If you sound like The Exploited, great. If you sound like Puzzle Box, even fucking better. But if you don't, why am I going to put my opinion in front of giving you an opportunity? I infiltrated. I'm booking shows here. I have an opportunity.
Right.
And that's also why you played only a handful of times too.
Yeah. And it's true. I mean, I got to do the Fear show.
That's
but
pretty good.
Realistically,
Was that the only time you played Union?
Poor played downstairs once,
And then you did the main stage.
and then we
Fear.
did the main stage. Cockroach played, I think, once on the side stage. Meat played, I think, once on the side stage. Poor might have played the side stage. But yeah, no, I didn't put myself in front of anyone. And now realistically, I was a fucking idiot. There were so many good shows.
could have injected your band into?
Oh yeah,
And did Puzzle Box play the main stage at Union?
No, I think we stayed downstairs.
yeah.
One of my favorite shows, the Union, was probably Ned's Atomic Dustbin.
Okay.
Oh
That
yeah.
was a phenomenal show. Those guys were so good.
That was
Yeah, they were so good.
yeah.
Arctic Monkeys. I saw those guys when they were little kids at the new Soma. That was fantastic too. I saw those guys. I'm like, wow, these guys are going to be somebody. And all of a sudden,
Yeah.
Boom.
Yep.
or-
And that was kind of the formula that, you start and you reach. It wasn't just because I would book you doesn't mean that you're going to get every great gig. There had to be a formula. You had to kind of go. It's the same thing when I try to teach people is when we were talking about with flyers. I would try to teach people how to promote themselves. I mean, I'm going to give you a handout, but it's more like a hand up, and then it's up to you to take it from there. And the funny thing to come full circle on that is when I watch how much promotion you guys are doing for the band, and now that I'm even getting more insight by us sitting here with you, it all makes sense why you were able to do so much, because not only are you doing it to benefit yourself and to promote the band, but you're promoting the scene, you're promoting a unity,
Yeah.
but you're still doing it with punk rock ethics and doing punk rock music that has a viability, a meaning behind it, and it might not be for everyone. But then again, to quote Devo, freedom of choice.
Absolutely. And so a lot of these bands that we're playing with, we probably, if we sat down and talked politics, we would not see eye to eye.
Right.
And that's totally fine.
That's okay.
Right.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
And if we want to have a civil debate or conversation, I'm down for that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because nobody should be canceled.
No.
Everybody should have.
No one should for any reason.
It's the First Amendment. We should all have the freedom.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Exactly.
My belief.
100%
Well
right.
said.
I'm sorry. Even
100%
that stuff that I'm really vehemently against.
Yeah.
But I still say, let them say it. And then you make your decision.
And just so you guys know, because none of you really know me, I actually started at Soma. I was in the Navy, so I did 8 years active duty in the Navy, and I was moonlighting at Soma.
Yep.
And
He started just cleaning up the lots for me. And the one thing that I noticed about Jerry was he had that discipline. So he understood the importance of, because at Metro, not so much Union because it was downtown, so no one cared, but we had to basically appease the the other businesses,
the neighborhood and the
neighborhood.
college.
The college was a huge one.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of people that would start off helping me by cleaning up the lots and everything because, I didn't have the glory of going there and just being at the back and checking vans in. There's a lot of work. And when I ended up leaving and Jerry took over from me and, eventually, as I was saying earlier, he and Scott ended up opening up the new location. Len infiltrated that. And they left. And I mean, Jerry's much better at telling the story about what really happened. But, there was so many things that you had to do just to be able to keep the club running. And I wasn't exactly the perfect face. And I was told that many a times, even though I was on the cover of the Tribune. But, I was a shitty punk rocker. I had more jewelry in my face than a freaking tackle box had, So, Jerry, if you want to,
No, I don't need to bring that stuff up. We already talked about it.
But it's being the punk rock club and the ethics and I think I wouldn't say that everyone, because it was such an eclectic mix of people. Realistically, it wasn't so much a punk rock club. We were a club. And it was, I think, more than anything to put a label on it, let's take away the hashtag of punk rock and let's just put DIY.
Well, again, when it comes from Union to Metro, Union was completely different.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I thought
I was afraid
Metro
to go to
was
Union.
corporate.
And I was older, and you're like Noel bringing up, he was 13 going to Union. I'm like, there's no way I could be 13 and going to Union Street. That'd have been insane. Because that was scary.
It was gritty down there.
Yeah, it was way gritty.
I liked it.
And then Metro,
me too.
Metro became like a kind of a daycare. This is what we always bring, or I shouldn't say daycare. It was like we're gonna babysit the kids at night. And a lot of parents would just drop their kids off.
Yep.
But a lot of kids, they gave us a lot of credit, and they're saying, hey, that I can't imagine that not being there. and not having that to go to growing up. And a lot of other cities didn't have that.
Yeah.
LA is a fine example. LA was more the older scene than back in the 90s at Metro.
And Metro was a really, really young scene. Did you, I mean, obviously,
A few shows.
Knikki,
Did Metro do Romper Room and all that, or was
yeah, that was Union.
Yes.
Oh, that was.
But we
did
did
that?
it too. We did several raves.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
It was Todd, right? Was involved in that.
There was a couple different people because there was different promoters for different raves.
Yeah, I don't know if
that makes
Todd made it because
But I think they do Romper Room at oh no, it was Play School at the sports
Play
arena.
School.
Yes, Play School.
Yeah.
Play School.
You're correct.
yeah. So now we're really diving into the
Club Rio. You guys remember Club Rio?
Yeah.
It was a weird little club in a weird little place.
yeah.
I saw Sam Hain there and the Colts.
Danzig.
Yeah.
See, I don't remember
Danzig.
that place.
Yeah, I
Club Rio.
barely do.
Did Sam work there? Sammy?
Probably Sam the sound guy. Sam
Weird little
Costello.
club. It was off this little. It was just weird.
Remember that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, back then we got Bodie was doing Bodie's in downtown,
Played there a couple times.
and when the World Beat Center before Izod took it over here, it's now been demolished and it's a low income, but the Showcase Theater.
Showcase.
But before that, remember all the little Gothic clubs that were, because that's kind of what we did when I got into Soma. Whatever promoter, John was one. But they would do Mania was one of the nightclubs. So it would be the Gothic or Industrial upstairs. So then that's when because of the 9th and because of Short-Lived, but mainly because of the 9th, because Len was looking for someone to book bands downstairs while they had the dance club. So because I knew the 9th, and Len had talked to Ray from Short-Lived. Shout out Ray. Ray had told him, well, we got this artist friend. He's working with us, and he's working. And then I was working with the 9th, kind of, but more being mentored under Ara. But I was working with Short-Lived and Struggle, Missing Children, Psychic Dykes, and then eventually, that grew into like you guys, another band. So I was able to start booking shows downstairs in the dungeon, and then that blew up, and that started doing better than upstairs. But there was a lot of those, then
that's when Lynn said, "Hey, let's cancel the nightclub and just do shows."
Yeah, and it was kind of the first main stage show that I did that flopped, and no offense to Ill Repute and Tony because he helped me out on that.
So that Offspring show flopped?
Yeah, that Offspring show was. Let me get close. Holy shit!
That was the Grim too.
Yeah. And I had Blasphemy open up because I couldn't really find I was trying to find someone that would be big enough that would want to do the show for whatever reason. The 9s weren't really to get them to play because I did have them play once.
So really, the only known band at that time would have been Ill Repute. Offspring. Nobody would have known.
Not really.
That was 89, right?
We played Offspring at Red Tape, and there wasn't a
I
lot of
remember
people showed
Red
up for us, but not so many people showed up for them. It was kind of
Interesting.
And then Stormy was bragging once at the Metro about how whatever that album was. Remember that, Jerry, where the Offspring took off? She's telling me, yeah, I got a house, and I was like, cool.
She got her car too.
Oh, and a car. Okay, that makes me even feel worse because I probably that show when they played, I probably after paying the cleanup crew got a 12-pack for myself because I was rolling in the
But
dough.
the Offspring never
for
played Metro though.
Yeah, didn't they?
No, we had a contract for them to play, but they ended up playing like Remac.
Okay, because I know
So they were huge. They were
Stormy
huge
was
at
there
that
a
time.
lot.
Well,
'Cause-
Stormy had other bands,
Yeah,
like the Suicide Machines. Stormy booked them.
I
That
tried to-
was Leave Home booking.
okay.
And so she had multiple bands that would come through.
I tried to get her to book Sin 77 when I was just forming that and starting to play. And she gracefully told me, fuck you, no, not in this lifetime. So, there's a lot of respect that I have in the community. That's why it's great to do this podcast and call those people out for not helping. Wait a minute, that turned for the worse. See, there we go, lyrics. But so let's jump into the newer scene since you're talking about Doll Riot.
So Doll Riot. So like I said, they're minors,
Mm-hmm.
and they're playing all over the place. As a matter of fact, we're gonna. I bought tickets for Friday night show at Punk Rock Bowling. They're gonna play that show with the Real Mackenzies.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you guys doing this is San Diego Punk Rock Bowling?
No, this is the Vegas one.
Oh, it is the Vegas. Okay.
Yeah. Were you talking about ST Noise Fest?
No, I didn't know that. I haven't. The last time I went to Punk Rock Bowling was in 21
Oh, okay. Yeah.
because there wasn't one
Remember
last
that
year.
one.
They did one. It was a weird September thing, and then they had
Yeah,
all
the
those
last
tickets
one
from
was September.
holdovers. They had to burn those tickets.
Yeah, they had to
somehow.
get before
So,
the liability insurance.
Yeah, so it
was
was
up.
all American acts. They just kind of got it off the table so they could rebook the.
Because yeah, that 22 was pretty big.
Yeah.
Or 21, not 22.
21.
21 was pretty big. It was,
That was
the
that event
4 days.
On the green grass.
Yeah, they
They've
had a
moved
big
back to the
stage.
dirt lot now.
Oh, really?
So they're going back to the old Harmon.
That's kind of lame.
Yeah, it is lame because I hated that. It was freshly like asphalted. It stuck to your shoes. It's terrible.
And then, and then
We're
they,
doing
had
that this year, so we'll be going back to that this year.
they had all the little clubs that were doing bands too. And
Still
then,
doing that.
And then doing shows in the pool area in one of the
Oh, yeah.
hotels.
Yep.
Still
I'll
doing
be at
that.
the pool parties.
That's where these guys are staying. I'm staying at the El Cortez. I'm slumming it. And these guys are high rolling it.
I think I stayed there.
Wristbandies.
That's
Yeah.
right.
That's a good scene. That was my first one I ever went to, and was pretty crazy.
I have a blast.
Yep.
I love going to that.
I've
Actually,
been going
myself, but-
I've been going for it's got to be a lot of years.
You're
When it was,
And that was all started by the Stern brothers, right?
I was going when it was still in the bowling alley. They hadn't expanded
Oh,
out
at
beyond.
Sam's
Bands
Town?
were playing in the bowling alley. Yeah.
Samstown.
Yep.
Yeah.
When it was really punk rock bowling.
See, that's what I've never been to any of those. I mean, we're going to the No Effects. We're taking our daughter so that she can see,
Punk and Jovic.
Mike make an ass of himself and
his
for
last last run.
Yeah. But I've never been to that one. And I always wondered how they ended up booking those, because if you got these,
How they find the talent.
Yeah.
That's a good question. I don't know. I know that, I reached out personally to some of the bars, and I was well received. I mean, I think what happens is a lot of these bands reach out. I didn't reach out to Punk Rock Bowling. It wasn't obvious to me yet, like how to do that. I'm hoping maybe next year I'm going to try and do that. Maybe get on one of those smaller stages or do one of the evening shows. But the bars have shows going at the same time.
Yep.
So Vegas is just like electric.
There'll be like 4 shows
Yeah.
happening at the same time.
So it's kind of like a South by
'Cause I
Southwest
was with
sort of
the-
thing.
Very similar.
So in
What the hell?
21,
I could go.
I was with the Suicide Machines, and we played the Fremont Country Club.
Oh, cool.
So
Okay.
we got invited to play at Double Down.
Yep.
Is that what it's called?
Mhm.
Double Down. And Evil Pie at first, we talked with them too. So
Pizza place.
yeah, right there.
It's pretty cool, actually. I wouldn't mind doing that. They do it out in the beer garden, and it's kind of neat. I wouldn't mind playing.
Shortly after,
I got to put a band together now and do this.
Well, next time it happens
with
and
us.
it's big, you need to go to Vegas.
yeah.
Go hang out. It's crazy.
Boogie,
you just
you
see
wanna go to Vegas?
love
you
it.
just see all punk rockers.
You probably still get
Yeah.
tickets, by the way. So it's
Yeah,
not-
they
not
just
sold
released
out.
more tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you could probably still go if you wanted to.
But we lost Travis. So when we lost Travis, being uncertain what we were doing, I just shelved.
Yeah,
the whole
we
thing.
didn't-
Right.
I said, you guys, I think let's, it was a struggle. There was a couple of people that we knew that were going that maybe could fill, but
See, I was going to throw my name in the hat there.
I know.
Yeah.
I don't have to play with all my freaking pedals. I can play clean and,
Straight
I
in.
do that in a couple bands.
All right.
So, but no, that's just that whole.
You got to get out of San Diego every once in a while.
I know.
Rebellion Festival. That's a
Yeah,
whole
that's-
whole nother
that's what we
animal. That's a
wanna do.
fucking. That's a shit ton of fun, man. That's in Blackpool,
Cameron and I
England.
went last year.
It is. It's my third one. It's fucking fun. You see all the subs. Sham 69 with Jimmy Percy and Coxbar. It's just. I mean, Info Riot. All the bands actually play. Kron Jen. I'm like fucking Kron Jen.
I don't know if you can tell right now. It's probably vibrating the table. I mean, for me to be able to see Charlie again, Charlie Harper.
Oh yeah. It's
I have
fun.
not
We got our
seen
picture
him.
taken with them.
I got a picture taken with him every year I go. It
don't know if
might be
you-
the last one you get with him. So you always hey.
I know exactly. I have one that he signed years ago, and I never get pictures with anyone, but I don't know if he'll even remember this, but he is a mentor to me, definitely. I've looked up to him
Do you guys
for
remember
many years.
Street Scene when the Sex
Oh
Pistols
yeah,
played?
I was at that one.
Oh.
Yeah, that was a great one.
My daughter was there with us.
Yeah.
I was
She was 2
actually
years old.
lucky to get on the stage and sit on the stage and watch them.
That's awesome.
Amazing.
I was doing merch for Bad Religion,
Wow.
Right.
so
Yeah.
I lucked out.
Yeah.
Very much.
That was a good. Those shows used to be really good when they were downtown, and
Yep.
I don't know what happened.
I
And that
missed
was-
that.
yeah.
I missed that. That was a good thing San Diego had going.
Really fun.
They took it to Petco Park or the Qualcomm. I was like, this is not good.
I still saw some good stuff there too.
Yeah,
but
I had fun at that one too. The Qualcomm one.
that Sex Pistols lineup had Glenn Matlock on bass, which
Yep.
was pretty cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty
That was good.
legit, you know?
Yeah.
The OG.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm amazed they didn't find. Well, actually, no, knowing Johnny as well as through other people that know him, I couldn't see him faking it or phoning it in. So they wouldn't get like a Sid Vicious lookalike kid
Right.
Yeah.
for that. But I could see him doing that for Pill, bringing some youth in because that's something.
Because Pill always changed.
Yeah.
Their
Yeah.
lineup was always
I
different.
mean, they had freaking Ginger Baker. God,
Yeah. Yeah.
what the
Steve Vai.
Yeah.
on the same album.
Yeah, the
On
generic album.
generic
Yeah.
album.
Yeah.
And I was just I was listening to Justin Pearson's 31G episode. He had
And you remember Flea was supposed to be in that band too.
yeah.
They're
And
recording a new
actually,
album right now. They Public Image.
I think they they are. They are.
Been seeing some stuff on Instagram or whatever. They're in studio.
oh wow.
We saw him last year.
Yeah, we just saw him last year. It was great.
Yeah. Cruel World.
I was in one of their videos
Yeah.
Yeah.
in Tijuana.
I was there.
Oh, yeah.
I'm in that video too. Yeah.
Iguanas?
I'm in that video as well.
Yeah, iguanas. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's another
That was
thing
so
right
that was
there.
so
Yeah.
weird.
Sure,
They
I'm in a
stopped the
video,
song.
yeah.
Like, okay, guys, get excited again. Here we go. We're rolling. That was so weird.
They
Yeah,
played that song like 9 times.
Yeah, it was so weird to be a part of that.
and 120 minutes was there.
Yep.
Yeah, it
Oh,
was
we had
crazy.
that happen when the Stone Temple Pilots. I was going to call them a different name because they're not a San Diego band. But when they recorded Wicked Garden, was
Yes,
it
yes.
At Soma?
At Union.
Oh my God, that was a long fucking day.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm in it, but they had everyone remember. Okay, so to explain it to the audience that doesn't know about that place, in the dungeon, so the middle of the room would be where the stage was. Not in the middle of the room, but like in the middle of the back wall,
Yeah.
remember the stage. And then the left side was just storage, and that's where the cockroaches and everything else lived. I barely went in there. But then to the right was the green room. So graffiti, just like everything else. And they had, the filmers had a whole bunch of people in there. So, of course, there was the typical skinhead type guys and whatever, idiots came to the club for this shooting.
Because that was a free show.
Yeah. And it was an all-day thing. And so I'm one of the ones, and they wanted everyone to basically do a pit so they can get some overhead shots. And I'm like, I'm not going to, number one, I don't like the band, and I don't want to jump around like a clown. So I just tried to skip out of it. And it just, the whole process of shooting a video for me, in hindsight, I'm like, yeah, I should be proud that I was part of it. But I looked at it, God, this is fucking ridiculous.
It is weird. Yeah, it's a weird process.
Just shoot
Did they put
them
the
playing.
cardboard cutouts of the band on the stage, and there's like people jumping around in the background or whatever?
Possibly, because I know at one point I was so frustrated that I just went out and sat in the parking lot, and even I remember pissing Len off. I'm like, fuck this, dude. What am I doing here? I was so bored out of my mind, and he's like, well, just stay in the parking lot, make sure no one comes in. Because I just thought the whole thing was just so,
Well, those video shoots are super long.
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I did one for Wild Colonials. It was an all-day shoot, and I had Ronnie from the Excrements and my girlfriend at that time, Charmaine, and we were in a taxi. We met in Mission Beach. The taxi, I remember the number was 666 and then whatever, and I thought, oh, this would be cool.
This is my taxi.
And so we drove around the taxi to finally our part where all it is we're in downtown. I get out of the taxi, and me being me, I'm holding the door open for my girlfriend to come out. I had my hawk up, I had a jacket on, I had my bondage pants. And then Ronnie comes out, and this is before Ronnie's face was all tattooed. I mean, he's still really young. And the only part they used was me coming out of the taxi, and I look around, and then I go to hold the door open, and that's it. But it took all day. We each got $125, which is more than I made. That's actually that.
Seemed like you were rich.
That rivals as much as the most amount of money that I ever made at Soma.
Yeah.
Because those nights, half the time I was maybe $50. So I was like, yeah, this is cool. I'm gonna be in a video. Took all frickin' day, but it was long. I mean, it was shorter than an average day at the club, which was 12 to 14 hours. So I was like, yeah, $125. I'm gonna buy so much. I think I was drinking Bud Light back then.
And that was back in the 90s. So
Records.
it went a little further than it does today.
Oh, a lot further. It probably paid rent because Charmaine was living with me then too, and she never paid rent for the 4 years we were together.
Today you get a couple of pizzas and a can of beer.
Maybe.
Yeah, or like a couple burritos and
Yeah.
$125 doesn't go nearly as far as it used to.
yeah. But I mean, in hindsight, it's all fun stuff. But again, coming back, so that's the old stuff, right? I like hearing about the youth, and I like the fact that us, we're now granted with our lyrics in our stage shows, which is something I want to get into because let's just jump right into it. The energy on stage when you watch a band, when it's at the point of this might be a problem, where are the exits? Those types of shows and those types of stage performances to me are still what drive me to want to get on stage. But if you go and you're like at a Bjork and you're like, oh, fuck, this is crazy. Bjork is, her vocal range is insane. And you're, up in 30,000 people at the Hollywood Bowl where I saw her years and years ago. But I like a club and I like having that feeling now because I'm not running them or involved in them that this shit might blow up. There might be a fire. The singer might come through the crowd and punch everyone in the nuts, whether you have them or not. Or if you just self-identify as being nuts.
Just don't book Great White.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then there'll be no fire.
Can I jump in on that?
Yeah. No, absolutely.
So, my husband also plays with Skullbusters. He's their keyboard player. And Skullbusters have been playing. We played with them last weekend. And we played at the Tower Bar, and we were commenting about, I don't know if it was you, Adam, or somebody was saying to me, I actually felt a little nervous because the crowd gets so riled up with Skullbusters that people are just going nuts.
Yeah.
And there's exit, there's one door in and out. And I was actually thinking about the Great White thing, because when it gets going, it's crazy. I mean, in any club, but I'm just saying it, But yeah, I love that feeling though.
Yeah.
Last night when we were playing, I told the boys, I go, did you see the girl pit? We had all these girls form a pit.
Like seven or eight girls out there.
It was so great.
Going for it.
They're smashing each other too.
And they were smashing. They were falling down and
the kids,
getting crazy.
The 20-something-year-olds, they get pretty aggressive.
Yeah,
the reason why I bring up Great White was we opened the new Soma, and a week after we opened that up was when the Great White incident happened.
Shit.
Wow. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, 100 people died at that.
Yeah, that was awful.
I mean, I'm not really a pyro guy. There was someone that brought some Roman candles. I believe it was at Metro in the early days.
Was that the Aquabats?
Was it Crash Worship? Did you guys do Crash Worship there?
No.
That was at Union.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was at one of those shows and I got hit with a firecracker.
But I felt more safe there than I did at Metro.
You guys were doing pyrotechnics at Union?
The band decided to do it on their own.
It wasn't nobody.
Impromptu.
Yeah. But no, there was, I can't remember what it was, but I know it was kind of a setup where it was antagonistic what they did. It might have been Saber-Tooth Tigers actually that decided they were going to shoot off a Roman candle, and at that place it wasn't as safe as, say, the Union location, because it was, Union was just cinder block and But Metro, we had the art on the wall down there and curtains, and it was just a different setup. I mean, even the walls and the stage for the side stage was just, because I know I had to repair them all the time. It was just drywall, but it did have the sheet metal framing. It was a little bit more dangerous. And then by then too, I was kind of over it. I just wanted to do the shows, and when I'm playing, I like to provoke. Whenever Cockroach played, I mean, or even Poor, I would start off the show by going, name the band, hey, we're Poor, and why don't you all go fuck yourselves? And then just, go right into it. But that was that, I guess it's, the more and more I try to figure out my influences, I think Iggy Poop.
I like that better.
I know. I think Iggy Poop definitely had, I mean, I didn't do Peanut Butter, but I would get, I was pretty obnoxious.
Iggy doesn't pop anymore. He's just pooped. He's old. Aren't we all?
Still a
His
madman.
Depends.
And it's that excitement, because we were, my wife and I went to support this band. They're called the Bleacher Creatures. Really great bunch of kids. But we went to, what's that place called? Queen Bee's.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the guys on the stage, I'm not even going to give him credit for this, but he calls out all the parents that are in the back, sitting back, and I'm back there as well with my wife and the singer's dad and mom and older sister. So he calls us all out for being, in the back. Look at all the parents there in the back. And I was itching. I almost said, you know what, motherfucker? Get the fuck off the stage. I'm going to rip this fucking ceiling down. Because I have that energy, and they try to provoke, and the kids get into it. But to me, that place and the way it's laid out, it's so lit up, and there's no sense of danger.
No.
So it seems kind of homogenized, and I don't know if that's is acceptable these days. Is that element of danger something that you want to provoke nowadays?
People are so sensitive. I don't know.
Right, but we can all just be friends. We can hold hands.
Everybody's afraid of everything now.
There's no safe spaces at concerts.
No.
Yeah, there shouldn't be a safe space.
Punk rock shouldn't have.
There's a little bit of danger. I mean,
That's what
we
I like
played
to
at
read.
our first show together. It was at Dino's, and
In La Mesa.
and it was with Corporate Citizen, and Corporate Citizen, they have a tough crowd, I guess you'd say, and there's a little mixing it up, and we had a few minor incidents, I guess.
My 22-year-old kid got in a fight right in front of the stage.
Well, she's
my
saying.
first fucking show. My kid, and it wasn't his fault. It was another guy ran into him and Kevin, my husband,
Mm-hmm.
and my kid came, got up, arms flailing, and it wasn't. I mean, it was a pit situation, but it really wasn't. It was just somebody who was walking around just shoving.
Oh, yeah.
And got up, and the next thing I knew, this thing breaks out right in front of me, and I'm kind of looking at these two like, what do I do? What do I
playing.
do?
Yeah, we're on
keep going,
stage.
Keep
Keep
going.
playing.
Keep going,
Yeah.
girl. Keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not your problem
just-
right now.
But Dino's is the least tolerant club of any of that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, he kind of took a step back.
Tries
And
to keep it.
he was like, "Whoa, this is not what I want to be promoting here."
Right.
Because you could have stopped the show and said, "Hey, knock that off," and then
I
started
don't know.
again.
I didn't know what to do. I looked at Travis. Honestly, my eyes were like quarters. I was like, oh my God, my kid's in a fight.
I was gonna say, did any of you guys go to the Fugazi show back in Union when Ian stopped the show?
Yeah. I mean, that's what
He
he's...
kicked the some of the skinheads
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we used to see that. I remember seeing some fights at Wabash.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wabash Hall.
Oh, yeah. And the early days. I mean, there was plenty enough, but to be honest, at Union, that was part of the formula. Full disclosure, because I don't give a fuck. It's a long time ago. But yes, it was brought up that to add the skinhead. You remember this, and I'm looking because Cameron was there watching a lot of this happen. Were you ever at any of the Union shows down there, Adam?
Downtown.
Not a bunch. I mean, I made some shows at those places, but yeah, I can't really remember.
Because it was basically the formula was to have just enough of the scary element, and that's why a lot of those meatheads for lack of better terms, were allowed in the club to give it that edge. Granted, I don't think I think the most aggressive bands on stage would be, someone like me, but that's another reason probably why I wouldn't play that much. But the bands weren't really too aggressive. Even something like El Duce, he was when the Mentors played, he was super mellow. Super mellow. I thought we were going to have problems. I thought we were going to have problems when GBH played. No problems. The problem, and then also, it's been brought up before about how the security was a lot of kind of white, sort of tough guys. I mean, it was a Nevison, but there wasn't. We had a mixture of all the Samoans that kept it under control, and they would kind of allow, and they kind of knew to have a good show, you kind of need that bit of an element. You have a fucking pit.
Let it rock.
There's a reason why we do this and why we listen to this sort of music. So it wasn't really that bad unless the skinheads came in full force with an agenda. And it depended how much they had to drink. So it would be...
well, as we always say, controlled chaos.
Yeah.
Right.
By the time we got to Metro, it was glorified babysitting, but at least the kids had a place.
And there were still some pretty gnarly pits at Metro.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, depending on the bands, but it wasn't an antagonistic sort of thing. That was more of the outsider bands that would come in that would try to we're going to infiltrate and we're going to fuck shit up. Or like when Skunk Snot would play and, Sam from Deathiosaurus, one of my projects, we're writing another album right now. When they were doing Skunk Snot, he would get people riled up, but that was part of the show, is to piss people off, and that's why we never did Gigi Allen, because I knew I was not going to book them, and I heard Tim Mays talking about passing on that show, or someone else he was talking to passed on it. So Jerry ended up booking Gigi at the Spirit, which was the eventual demise. And I felt bad for Jerry, but
research.
Yeah, I kind of knew. And Jerry asked me about it, and I'm like, yeah, I'm passing on it. And I passed on Merle from the Murder Junkies as well. I actually passed on Steve Jones. Steve Jones wanted to play Metro, and I passed on him because Charlie Harper told me he was still in a really bad place, and at that time he was selling off his stuff. He was in Hollywood, but he was selling off stuff.
And I passed on Jello.
Yeah,
over at Metro.
Why would you pass that?
Because it was just what the talk.
Oh, okay, the spoken word.
Spoken word. Yep.
Yeah.
To me, that wouldn't work at Metro.
Yeah. No, we did the Jim Rose Sideshow Circus. And that was interesting. I thought it was fun. We got along great with everyone, but it wasn't really,
And Hovercraft opened.
That's right.
One of the greatest guys I've ever seen get the crowd just out of control was leaving up in L.A. There was a riot, literally a riot spilled out into the streets after the show, and the cops were surrounding us, pushing us into Watts, pushing all the punks into Watts on purpose, and. But Lee would just go, just get you, fuck the whole place, was to the point where everyone wanted to climb on stage and kill them and then kill each other. And then they'd kick into their set and just the place just go fucking ape shit.
Yeah.
He was really skilled at that.
I'd have to say,
Dick, for sure.
I have to say one of the craziest shows I was at was, I was actually touring managing Papa Roach, and we played Maritime Hall, and it was multiple floors. So they would do different shows. And I think it was below us was the Cro-Mags.
Oh, wow.
And Harley started some shit with a bunch of San Francisco skinheads. And they all came out after the show and started throwing bricks to the windows. And the security just took off. And we were stranded with the Cro-Mags. We were stuck in the gate in there. We couldn't get out.
I know that venue. I think we played there.
Yeah, it's gone now.
Yeah, we played there.
Back in the 90s. Or actually, that was 2000.
Yep.
And
the Confederate Rats played there.
Oh, wow.
And what happened was Rocky, who was our drum tech, had to get the Cro-Mags bus out, and the tour manager for the Cro-Mags broke out a shotgun and was like, boom, boom, trying to scare the skins away. But yeah, Harley started something, and
crazy.
they all it was a riot.
So at Rebellion Festival they played, and outside they have all these merch people doing probably bootleg merch. And actually, Harley walked down. He's like, they had Cro-Mag shirts. He just took all the merch. He's like, "You're not paying me on his fucking money." He took all the shit and he walked off with all their shit. I'm like, right on.
As he should.
Yeah, he just fucking grabbed all their merch and walked. You didn't fucking buy this from us. You didn't get this from us.
Yeah.
He just took it all off the tables and walked off with bundles of shirts under his arms in the middle of Blackpool. I'm like, right on.
Yeah, I used to work for Staff Pro at one time, and for the sports arena in San Diego, when the bootleggers would be outside, we had a crew that would actually go and grab all that stuff.
Wow.
So,
That's funny because I very intimately know someone who used to bootleg stuff back at the Union days. I'm not going to mention her name, but she knows who she is. But yeah, I mean that was kind of the thing back then too, is just to bootleg and then just try to get away with it, whatever. But a lot of people would bootleg just to be able to get a ticket to get in, or a reason to be down there.
I know what's crazy too, though. Sometimes those bootleg shirts were better than what the band was selling.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I like the ones that are spelled wrong.
Oh yeah.
Like the cheap knockoffs, and you look at it and go, "Crow, what? Crow, whoa, what the hell?" I wish I had some of those shirts now, though.
All those iguana shows you go down there, and all those guys would have like Sex Pistols T-shirts or Ramones T-shirts, and I'd buy.
And then that was another country, so basically, they could get away with that.
I think I bought a couple down there. I won't lie. I think I bought a Ramones T-shirt off the street in TJ.
Yeah.
Some studded wristbands for $1.50 or whatever.
Oh yeah, I love those shows down there.
That was a violent.
Iguanas
That
was
was a
great.
violent play.
That was a wild venue.
Yeah.
Man. That
People
venue was-
diving off the
They were
balcony.
Third story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Remember
saw the
that?
Ramones down there, and then people just jumping off that third. So I'm like, shit.
And that was happening during that video shoot.
Yeah, Bill, the public give a shit.
But the Exploited show, I went. Damnation. So when I was doing Poor, Damnation was the death metal band, and then they add me, and we're called Poor, and double bass. We were a crazy band. I can't even believe that we did it. They were opening up for the Exploited, and I've been trying to get a hold of Waddy for a while because I wanted to book them at the club. So I ended up knowing it was some of the ground control guys, some of the Samoans. So I was able to get backstage, and I talked with Waddy, and I talked to the tour manager, and that's when we became friends. But then I went out back into the pit, and to make this long story really short, the Mexicans from like Chicken Farm and Fishing Rod, those guys were in the pit, and then the Skins are there, of course, as always. They were fucking with my friends. But I knew the Skins as well, so I tried to, squash it like, no, this, like as if it was Soma, cut the shit. These are my friends. Someone went after me. I didn't even realize this till afterwards because my buddy Sid basically tackles me. We're running out, and he's pulling me out, and we're running out of the pit. We grab Kelly, which was his girlfriend at the time, and we head the fuck out. And I'm like, what the hell? What's going on? Sid shows me his hand, and it cut through his hand. Someone went, and I do remember him hit me in the neck. They were trying to cut my neck.
Ugh.
And
They took
Sid
one
took
for
it to
you.
his hand.
Yeah.
So then we go to Soma afterwards, and I'm explaining everything there, and then we go back to OB, and Sid's hand was fucked up forever. And it's still, Sid and I are still talking, bless his soul. I mean, he saved my life. But that sort of thing never really happened at Soma, and that's kind of where you cross the line, and where I kind of knew, okay, I'm protecting my Mexican friends, and these skinheads now are officially, as far as I'm concerned, they are the enemy. I don't fucking want them at the club. I didn't have the clout, or I didn't really have the business really to tell them not to come in the club, because it's Len's club. I'm just booking shows there. But that's kind of reminds me of what it must have been at the Vandal show, what venue was that? I don't remember. Was that at Wabash? Or
It was at Adams Avenue.
Adams
Yeah.
Avenue?
I got pseudo arrested at that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was.
Crazy.
My friends and I drank a little bit of tequila on the block behind there, and we're getting ready to go on the show. And I was about 16 and a half, and I'm smoking a cigarette in line. And the cops were in the car wash across the street looking for any reason to pluck you out. So, and I looked like a fetus.
Fetus smoking.
Yeah, a fetus smoked cigarette. And so they walked across the street and said, all right, buddy, you're coming with us. So they took us to the Kearney Mesa substation. Yeah.
Fucking cigarette.
So I got arrested for smoking a cigarette. So I didn't get to see the Vandals. It was Vandals and the Stranglers, and that would have been a hell of a show. But
I was at the Lord's New Church show when Stiv got shot with a pellet gun. I remember that, and that was SDSH or skinheads. So.
Yeah.
That wasn't white power skinheads. Those were just
I think Arturo.
those were just
did.
bikers.
Was it Wabash
Maybe
where
not.
they pulled Mike Ness off the stage?
SDSH and Social Distortion had an ongoing thing. It was at the headquarters in Pacific Beach that Arturo's little brother Chewy was like a lightweight boxer, and Mike Ness considered himself a boxer too. Literally steps off stage from playing, and they boxed for like 10 minutes. Then Mike and then jumping in on Mike and beat the shove, and then but they Social D wouldn't come back for a while, and then they started coming back down again. But every time they show up, there'd be another fight because of that headquarters event.
Well, Mike still had a chip on his shoulder whenever they played Metro. And then, once he got, I think he was sober back when I was in. Did you guys ever do anything with Golden Voice when you ended up taking over with Social D, or?
No, the last Social D show at Metro was that White Trash White
White
Light,
Power.
White Heat or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's when
White
Chuck,
Light Heat, White.
yeah, and that's when Chuck Biscuits was
Yeah,
playing.
I
drums.
really like that album. By the
Yeah,
way.
that album's awesome.
It's a really good album.
Yeah,
And
but
was he
we
sober by
did
then, or?
we did Social D at the New Soma. I think it was in 2003, and Mike started getting political. And the thing is, he's in a military town. Why are you talking shit about the president? And everybody booed him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
He was sober with that White Heat album. He was sober then.
but he still kind of had a chip on his shoulder. Thought he was.
He was
Golden
actually
Dude.
cooler then, I think, than he was when he played the New Soma. So he was cooler in the 90s. I think now or 20 years ago, he was kind of being a dick.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that again, that kind of comes with youth
Yeah.
versus
And actually, that night at Metro, I ended up driving Dennis Daniels over to the hotel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, we
rest in peace.
we would end up having to do a little bit of taxing. That's the thing is when we were doing Metro, and that, I mean, really for me, as much as I hated that club and I thought it was kind of the salad days, I look back on it and it was really the DIY ethic of the way that we ran it was really at the club. And that's the things that I try to instill with the Magnol, and I look for in the new shows, with anyone doing any new shows.
You guys drove the Cramps around.
Oh wow.
That's cool.
Who was doing that? I didn't drive him around. Who was it?
You weren't there at that time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. Because, my story.
that's when Rocky was stage managing.
Oh, okay.
I think he brought that show up where he got in the fight with their tour manager.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, my whole claim is when Daisy Chainsaw was driven around in my car and it smelled like dirty, filthy English Katie James from the Daisy Chainsaw for a couple months. I
Gonna get that smell out.
loved.
He loved the smell because he
I-
loves her.
Oh my god!
Leave it. Never washing my car.
Oh, I had her scarf. She left this super long that to this day, and bored Jerry to death with the story. But Daisy Chainsaw,
His favorite band.
freaking, oh my god, phenomenal. One night, my wife and I are sitting here and drinking, and for whatever reason, our daughter came out and we're just watching YouTube videos, and I'm like, oh, you gotta watch Daisy Chainsaw. She watched a little bit and was like, yeah, okay. And goes back into her side of the house.
Okay.
But my wife knows. I bored her to death with that story more than I have Jerry and other guests on this podcast. But yeah, they were
The audience of the podcast.
yeah. Sorry, audience. So let's get back into more of the scene and what you guys are doing right now, and kind of what direction. Because you're writing an album right now. Is that what's going on? Or
We recorded a year ago. Like I was saying, Kevin's he recorded us, mixed, and is mastering everything. Although it sounds like we're going to send it off for one more mastering.
Okay.
Because it's tricky.
Yeah.
You know, and we were kind of his first band. He's now done about 3 bands, I think. So, so we just got done with that and just playing locally. And the hope is the big dream is, because I was asked, what is it we want to do? Is to hopefully do like punk rock bowling next year. Some of these festivals. Be great to get over to England and do
So
Rebellion.
do it.
We played last night with Revolt Chicks, and
guys-
they've done that.
Yeah.
You guys want to do a tour?
I want to, but it's hard.
It's hard when you're working and family.
Well,
I mean, it's really.
well,
I've done
full-time.
all that. I did that. It's just with a proper family and jobs. It's hard to do.
Yeah.
We want to do like a mini tour or something where we go to LA for the weekend, or we can link up.
Just do weekends or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
keep it a day off or whatever. But
Because I go out with Bucko 9 and we do maybe the longest we done in like 5 years was last year we did 2 weeks.
Are all those guys fully employed? And
Yes.
yeah. I mean, it's challenging.
Same here,
Yeah,
that's the vacation for you guys.
it's a
Yeah,
vacation. Yeah,
we take our vacation time and do a tour. So
we still have teenagers. It's a little selfish. I went to Rebellion last year, and it was about 3 weeks away, and I do punk rock bowling every year, and the family's like, "Hey, when are we going to Europe? When are we gonna?" I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, yeah, you're right. Sorry." So I owe them a nice trip somewhere soon. Otherwise,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get the hall pass to do Rebellion again. I don't think.
Yeah. I mean, that's the same. I'm with you, Adam. If I do anything, I'll do a weekend. I don't have a passport, so I'm not going too far. And I don't like to travel anyways. That's my whole thing is I just don't like traveling. I like sleeping in this coffin of a house. But I'm kind of to the point where I do want to get back out there and I want to play some good fun shows. We had a lot of fun with Simpson going up to LA and doing some of those shows. But, I left that band in 2000. I formed it, brought in Stoney. I think we started forming it in late 98. And then by 99 and then by 2000, I dropped out. And then they went on to do more, but I just, getting up on stage and then kind of checking those things off of the bucket list.
Well, I definitely would love to. I mean, I want to get one of those in at least.
Yeah.
You
I
know.
would love to do one of those festivals. That would be fun. I mean, I didn't never even played the sports arena New Year's Eve shows.
Yeah.
So that'd be fun. But what about you, Knikki? Can you get away from...
I have a beautiful schedule because of the way I work at Juvenile Hall. We never close. We have school 51 weeks a year. We have 1 week where we do take off between Christmas and New Year's. But other than that, we're always in session. So I get 12 weeks off a year. I can take
Nice.
wherever I want on the calendar.
Not even close.
Wow.
So
But-
I'm the most free.
Yep.
I
But
can't even... I have
there
to
you go.
schedule in weekends to do the podcast. Otherwise, I'd be out taking care of accounts.
Sorry.
In a perfect world, my retirement would look like playing music full time. I mean, that's most of those older bands like Coxbar and those guys. This is just fun for them. They're not looking to make money at it. They're just touring because I sit at home and watch TV. Let's go fucking do something. That's where I want to.
Because you retire and all you do is sit and rot.
That's what I want to do. I want to be out on the road, retired. But right now I'm still in the middle of my later life, kids and work and all that shit.
Yeah.
So
because even now with the music industry, which really there is no industry,
no.
I don't think most bands I don't even think are touring like we're talking about, a weekend, maybe a week, 2 weeks. The only bands that are actually making money are the bands that are playing these arenas, those are the only ones that are making any real money.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to save up for it. There's a band coming through in August that wants to play with us. They're called Toxic Madness out of Austin, Texas. And everything I've seen on social media looks fantastic. They've got a nice little following. And I'm hoping to book something here. But they're touring.
Mm-hmm.
And, it must be costing them a fortune. I mean, gas and...
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure they're just crashing on people's floors. I mean, I can't imagine they're getting hotels.
Is that still happening
kids,
now? I mean, because unfortunately, I don't have the space here. We tried to work it out. But as soon as we get an open room, then we fill it with skateboards and stuff, or a train set. We'll do the tour earlier so you guys can see the madness of us. But I was wondering, because I seen on YouTube, again, I was doing my research. There's a guy that had this video out. It's the cost of major bands like, Fear Factory. Are they on tour right now, Jerry? Or
They just did their last show at the Whiskey on Friday.
okay, and that's Dino, his cousin. So cousin, right?
Dino's not my cousin.
He's not.
No, I'm just like adopted family.
Oh, okay, it's adopted. Well, it's, my adopted family grows every time we have a podcast. But but to be able to, a band like that, they used to tour in buses, but the cost of a bus to be able to tour these days, I had this whole video. The guy's talking about, so if you do a 28-day tour, so you're renting the bus for 2 days, set up for the bus, 2 days at the end to clean it out and get it prepped for the next band. And some of the costs is like, if I remember correctly, it was upwards of $20,000 to $30,000. No, I think it was like 10,000. I don't remember. Whatever the numbers were.
A tour bus is about $1,000 a day.
Yeah.
It was more than that. I remember it was something ridiculous. I'm trying to remember exactly the numbers of how.
Because even with Bucko 9, we go out in an RV,
Yeah.
and that ain't cheap either. And then the gas, we're paying probably about $300 a day in gas.
But with the buses nowadays and, the bands that, we had buses coming to the club all the freaking time. But the costs have gone up so much. And, of course, you have to pay for the little things from
You gotta pay for the-
Wi-Fi hotspots.
Well, you got to pay for the
to-
driver, a hotel room,
Right.
or what they call a day
Per diem.
room.
Yeah.
And then everybody gets per diems, and there's a lot involved.
I'm pretty good friends with Pinch, who is the drummer from The Damned, and he's with the Gimme Gimmes now. And we
Real
were
quick
talking
on
about
that,
this.
is that who's married to...
Miranda?
Yes, I went to high school with Miranda.
Oh,
Yep.
How long has he been
Small World?
How long has he been the drummer for the?
He was the drummer for The Damned for 20 years. I
Okay,
think.
so he used to hang out at the New Soma. 'Cause I met him.
Perhaps.
Yeah, I met him. Back.
I can't vouch for that, but I was talking to him about tour buses and how they couldn't get one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the other thing.
Yeah.
It's not that
Availability.
easy. Yeah, they were getting ready to go on tour, and they were a bit of a struggle.
Yeah. And then, once you get in a bus, you don't really want to go into a van.
No.
But if you do the RV route, then you still need to get a trailer.
Not necessarily.
And with the price, well, it
we
depends.
didn't have a trailer. on
If
ours.
yeah,
have
if
it
you
under, the
Yes,
storage underneath.
exactly.
and
Yep.
if you can, well, it depends on the back line. For someone like me I want a freaking wall.
If you're a crazy metal band, you're definitely going to need
or
a
a
trailer.
dumb punk rocker that wants more bass gear than there is PA. But
wall
You're
of
gonna get an
sound.
old cab,
well,
and whoever's head is
yeah.
gonna let you borrow.
well, I just need a hearse.
There you
And then I'll drive myself. But then, with all the cost of everything, with inflation, you got hotel rooms, you got food, you got gas. Gas alone for me with my mowers, I have to change a lot of things over to battery for like my blowers in certain neighborhoods. They don't want anything
I bet.
gas run, and then
Yeah.
City regs.
yeah. Well, especially here because Todd Gloria seems to hate small business. I'm just calling it out.
I agree.
And I only say that because he tried to I tried to say hello to him at Vaughn's, and the security guard at Vaughn's told me to get out because I was homeless. Because you show up in a... No, I'm just saying.
Fuck.
His Todd Gloria's bodyguards were...
King Mirror, Todd Gloria.
Yeah. And his
I won't
suits that
use
don't
his
fit
other
him.
name that I use.
He does his own grocery shopping. I find that hard to believe.
Well, I think his bodyguards did. I don't even know why he's there. He didn't have anything. But I just showed up in a brand new Ford 150, and then they're whatever. That's a pet peeve of mine.
Yeah.
But the cost of gas alone for me when it was $6 or whatever, because I mow lawns, so I'm driving from job to job to job. And as you see at the house, I can't do the electric here because the homeless people will steal everything about it. And I'm not going to run a cord down my stairs to the truck. And then plus with the neighbors, and oh my God, I can go on for hours about it.
You couldn't run a plug anyways because that's a trip violation on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they would...
It'd be a fire code thing.
Oh, yeah. Well, see? They're just adding up. California just hates small business.
I agree.
As far as I'm concerned. But so getting back to, me noodling around about how much it sucks to try to live here. How are you going to tour if you're a small band? And I mean, granted, if you get picked up, like in the old days, you get picked up by a label and then they pay for everything. Yeah. Nowadays, labels aren't doing anything because everything to promote and everything, you can do it yourself realistically. You don't.
Yes.
And you guys have stuff on
Spotify
and
all the
everything.
Amazon
all
Music,
we have it on everything.
YouTube.
I was using Apple.
You were
Yeah,
using Apple. So, that's a whole nother thing we could talk about for a minute if you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's a trick in and of itself because you have to market all that too.
Yeah.
So I'm learning a lot. Like I should write a book about marketing
your
and all
own
that. You
fucking
can,
life.
if you go on Spotify, you'll see that our numbers are growing a lot. We have close to 40,000 listens to Cancel Culture. You have to figure out how to get on playlists, and you have to figure out your niche, you know, and you have to find what we're finding is with, especially with the politics, is that Europe right now is hot for what we're doing.
Okay.
Okay. So like the lyrics on Cancel Culture, we think that really hit there. It just hit at the right. It was just a cosmic timing. So they were having all of the protests and the riots and because of the shutdowns and all of the people losing their livelihoods and their businesses and whatnot. And that's what that's all about.
Yeah.
And some of these other songs too. So when we got into some of those playlists and they have like, I don't want to call it pirate radio, but it's like where they have different promoters who kind of, I guess, it's mostly just the playlist thing.
Right.
So we got onto a lot of those that fit that genre.
Right.
And it just took off. And it was weird. It was like really fast.
Didn't it happen like overnight? I remember seeing a post.
Yeah.
And then,
yeah, pretty crazy.
They were like
within a week.
10,000, then we were like 20,000. Now
Yeah.
I think we're hovering around 38, 39.
We're right at almost 40. I think it's at
At one point,
38.
we had
39
4,000
something.
subscribed listeners, meaning they're listening to the whole set subscribed. At
Right.
one point, I think that's dropped off a little bit, but it's still pretty decent.
Yeah. So but you have to keep promoting. I send stuff out every single day, pretty much.
yeah, that's kind of my
so
dilemma.
that's like a job, really.
Yeah. That's exactly it. Because I try to find the balance of not, for one, I have to put on my reading glasses, and it seems like I'm graduating to thicker and thicker and thicker. And
relate.
staring at my phone, and then I look at the TV and I can't see, and I should get out and do something, but Pugsley's on my lap while I'm sitting here on the couch, so it's kind of, I don't want to disturb him. But I find myself, I like to just put it on the TV because I figured out how to actually sometimes program stuff from my phone to the TV because, I have a 22-year-old daughter that understands that. But I also find myself, me personally, I guess I kind of get anxiety of, am I pushing the right product out? Am I pushing the right media, for lack of better terms, for people to see? Am I engaging the right people? Everything from, back in the days we were talking about earlier, I was doing I did a flyer route. It was 100 miles, and it was half of the flyer route that we did for the club. And then you add in the extra things where I would do a night where I go put up flyers on telephone poles around high schools, go to whatever concert at sports arena or wherever, and put flyers on cars, go to other shows and put flyers on cars. And then whenever someone comes out, hey, what the hell's going on? Why is my alarm going off? fuck, I don't know. Here's a flyer, and then take off before, cops mess with us because we're just punk rockers doing it, whatever clan I would get. But when I'm trying to do social media, I come up with random things, and I'm thinking, is this just going to offend more people than it's going to bring in? But then again, it's me, but they don't really know who. There's so many things where I beat myself up. So by the time I put something out, sometimes I'll even pull it.
Yeah.
Even though all press is good and it helps to promote. And I kind of, at this point, I even have a hashtag for my name. And the reason why I use Germ Adams is because eventually we are going to change our name to that. And it's just kind of a way to keep my promotion separate from the little bit of personal life that I do kind of have. There's so many dilemmas, as you can tell, and I'll spin downward forever trying to explain it. You could.
I understand what you mean. Yeah, and there's a couple of things there. You don't want to spin your wheels and waste a lot of your time, which I wasted a lot of the front end of learning how to do this.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't doing it right, and it was like a lot of effort. And then I realized, okay, that's not the best way. The best way is you've got to get contacts for all these promoters who do these playlists, and then you've got to send your stuff out and hope that they pick you up. We've been super lucky. I think it helps the women in punk thing is really hitting right now too. Right. So I kind of use that a lot. Like, we're
utilize what's out there.
Female fronted punk band.
Oh yeah.
And these guys putting these playlists together on not only Spotify, but on some of these other streaming services too. We're getting picked up that way. And that's cool. That's great for promotion. As far as what you put out there, I'm super cautious now. Yeah. I wasn't in the past.
Yeah. That's kind of where
we'll talk off mic.
Okay, good.
Plus, you don't want to oversaturate either.
Yeah. True. Well, okay. So I've been told that, but then the more research I've done, actually, you need to saturate because your algorithm is going to be affected depending on when and what you post. So you do need to post at least once a day. Really optimal is 3 times a day. And you should have a personal and you should have a professional. I'm just telling you
No, I'm not disagreeing with you.
Kevin's shaking his head.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just
it's crazy though.
Full-time
like
job,
it's family. It is, and I spend a lot of time but it's apparently effective.
No, it is because I've seen it. Which comes to because we talk about this a lot. Is when the early days we recommended very heavily to not saturate the market, but it wasn't social media. It was to play too many shows.
Yes.
Where nowadays, I mean, even Kevin, I probably even through Len or something, he's probably even heard me say it at some point. But nowadays, it seems like the more you're playing, is it because of the COVID that people don't care? They
want to go to a show. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Are you finding that?
I think that everybody wants to be out doing stuff right now. It's crazy.
Are you finding the same audience coming to a lot of things, or is the audience so diverse now and growing that they're,
I'm trying to mix it up. I'm booking most of these shows. I'm actually the booker for the show. Okay. So I'm trying to mix it up. I'm trying not to use the same bands. We've been playing about twice a month, really.
Okay.
And
that's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. It can be. It just depends. But like I said, I'm going to try and branch out and do some of these different places.
Right.
Like Bolt Brewing in June.
Yeah.
So that's going to be totally different. That's all ages. Potentially, it's going to be a whole different crowd. We're going to play with the Calvins, who we've never played with.
Yeah. Brian, he's great.
I love Brian.
Brian
is a cool dude. Nice guy.
He's working with us and another one of my projects, The Left Outs.
Okay.
So we're actually going to jam again. By the time this comes out, it'll be past, but we're going to be practicing some songs. We have 5 songs that we've steadily been working on. We're going to play this Thursday here.
Oh, right on.
Cool.
Those are some of his drums in there. The fuzzy,
very cool. Yeah,
fuzzy red
I really
drums.
like Brian. Nice
Yeah.
guy, and we
Yeah.
we chat a lot online.
Yeah, and I like their band a lot. They played the Evolution was it Evolution? Jerry?
Yeah.
When we tried to do
The brewing company.
we tried to do a live podcast, and it just
Didn't work.
No,
too many.
Too much background noise.
Yeah, and it we like this to be personal.
Yeah.
So we can all talk, and it was just there was too much going on. But yeah, I like the Calvins a lot, and they're another band that.
they were
Is-
in here. I listened to
Yeah,
their
yeah, yeah.
podcast.
Yeah.
And as much as you see their name, and this is again, we're going to be. I need to pick your brain on a lot of stuff, but as far as on social media, I see them out a lot, and I see. It seems like instead of doing flyers all over the place, there's a lot of social media, and there's a lot of great artwork for these flyers. So it's not black and white cut and paste. So it's opening up artistically a lot more for bands to do more. And it seems like it's a lot more saturated than what it is. But then again, I only follow so many people on social media.
Yeah.
If I followed everyone that followed me on all the different accounts, then I would probably just see the same kick flip down 6 stairs 5,000 times, which I see too many as it is. So with the bands, and what sort of mix are you finding with newer bands and older bands? Are you mixing it up a lot? Are you trying to bring in the youth?
I'm trying to. So there's a band called Dresden's Burning. They're an older band who disbanded, and now they're back together
Okay.
again. And when we played with them once, they brought a whole different crowd. You know what I mean? It's really good to mix it up. And I'm excited to do this Doll Riot thing because I think we're going to get a lot of people that would not just come to a Wabash show, but they'll come to this show. So it gives us an opportunity to play. I also sing with Broke Bastards.
Okay.
And so that's another mix where, when we play with them, we get a little bit of a different crowd too. So, it's interesting. You definitely want to mix it up.
And that's what we did at Soma. We had different styles of bands playing.
Yeah.
So you always had a good mix of crowd, and then people would be exposed to something they'd never been exposed to before. Like, oh, you guys are doing punk with ska.
Yeah.
Kind of just mix it up that way. And
Yeah.
We've got on that Doll Riot show, we've also got Beta 7,
Okay.
John.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's going to be a real weird mix, but I think it'll be cool.
It's as long as it's got that camaraderie of family and the scene, I think even if you had the most eclectic, I mean, again, you look at some of the different bands in the day that we put together. You try to come up with, especially when I first started doing it, there was a whole formula. Just speaking of with Cameron doing, if I did an all Poway show, so granted, Poway would fill up the venue, but if I put someone from say a Chula Vista band smack dab in the middle, then Poway is going to be exposed to that band. And it's kind of strategic. But then again, if you keep doing just an all one segmented type, grouping of bands, you're going to get bored.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's our concern too. I mean, we're playing a couple times a month. It's not. We've only done 11 shows, 12 shows now total.
Last night was our
Is
12th.
this band Wabash? I just feel like do you want to go out and see the same band every? I don't want to be overexposed, but I think Nikki's right. You got to stay in front of them. If you keep playing with different bands, and you will get different people. I figure if you make 1 or 2 converts at a show, maybe just one person goes, "Wow, I like that band. I'll go check them out again some other time." But I don't want to be. You don't want to overdo it either.
Yeah.
It's that exponential
expand the
growth
following.
thing too, because you want, them, remember that commercial? And then I told 2 friends, and then I told 2 friends, and they told 2 friends, right?
Shampoo, whatever that was.
Yeah.
But our crowds seem to be, they seem to be bigger and bigger all the time.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, we played last weekend, and then last night, the crowd was surprisingly
I
good.
don't disagree.
At the Ken. So,
And there's only so many clubs. I mean, so many
we're kinda
punk-oriented
limited right now.
people that'll put on a punk show that's fairly small in San Diego. I mean, you got the Tower, you got Till 2, you got Ken, you got where else? Dino's occasionally, but
Dino will do it, but
he doesn't want to be a punk
he's
club.
leery.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be a punk
so
club.
I think
He'll let me
now
book it. But
I think someone out isn't doing local shows, so I don't.
Yeah.
yeah, no, Soma is not available as far as I can tell.
That's one thing that I've noticed too, is there seems to be, actually,
because all the bookings are being done by Live Nation.
right.
Oh, yeah.
And another thing too, with the major tours that are coming through, they're not putting local bands open them because Proximal, which again, it just reference, I'm just self-promoting here.
Sure.
So Tim B from Proximal is slated to come in and do guitar with one of the bands that I'm doing. That's another band, which David on drums, the 18-year-old. But his death metal band, Proximal, tries to get these shows like, the death metal shows that are coming through. They're not being booked on them because the bigger tours and Live Nation don't want to take a chance on local bands.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it reminds me of freaking stay in LA.
Yeah.
Let's just take over the scene. And luckily, like the Magno kids are trying to do a lot of things, but other than like me and Jerry, they're not really versed in the people that are our age. They're more 20s and a little bit younger. So to try to cross over into that, helps grow your audience. But we do need more space. And this is something that Jerry and I have talked about for years now. We need a space. Like
An all ages space?
like how Soma was originally, the good parts of Soma, but an all-age venue that's strictly about music and about developing music and developing arts and like a community-type center. There is one that I'm working on with one of my guitarists that's going to be up in Oceanside, but that's, these things take time and it needs to be developed, but right now there isn't really too much.
You know what I think, Germ? I think that we just a few of us need to get together and work together on some of these centers because I don't find it that hard. I sent out, 8 emails to breweries that have never had shows or at least never had punk shows. And I got 3 responses back. I thought that was great. And so I think these centers are the same. I know one I've talked to in Lakeside, their rec center there.
Yeah.
They're willing to do it. But I can't do it myself. Like I was involved in the SD Noise Fest thing that kind of became the SD failed Noise Fest, unfortunately. But we hope maybe next year. And, it's just those things are hard, man. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And I decided I would, when the original promoter dropped out, I was going to try and take it on myself. And thank you, Adam.
Yeah, we're like,
Adam counseled me and he was like, "Can I talk to you for a minute?" And I'm like, "Okay." He said, "Do you think about this? How much?" Because I had to pony up the money.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was was a lot of many thousands of dollars.
there was going to be an outside stage and inside, and it was really complicated, and the amount of money to put all that together for the rentals and with just local bands, it was going to be tough to recoup, and that's what I was looking at.
And we just weren't sure we could do it. But I think these rec centers, which won't be as expensive and hopefully come with the stage, maybe the PA, hopefully. Although now I own my OPA system, so.
I think the epicenter they had a good run. I mean, that was a really well attended. I mean, every weekend was like sold out with kids, and they had a good gig going on there in Miramar.
Yep.
Because that at that time was when Metro closed down.
Yep.
I was actually asked to run that.
Yeah.
And then John
need
Pebsworth
this.
from Buck 09, he was running it. He was doing the shows over there.
And there was another one on Claremont Mesa Boulevard too that was doing the same.
That
thing.
was the scene.
Yeah. Forgot about that place.
And that was a rehearsal / studio
Yeah.
that started doing shows.
Bizarre building. I went there once and just
I went there once too. It was kind of weird.
I saw Killing Joke there with a dozen people.
Damn.
No way.
It was heavy. My stepson was, in probably junior high school, or he was like 15 years old, so all of his kids were there or whatever, and we rolled into that and nobody showed up.
Wow.
And they gave us the rock star performance for 13 people.
That's what you do. When you put it out there, you
Yeah.
play to 5 or 500. You got to do the same.
And I wonder,
Yeah.
I
When they
wonder how
came
much,
out with the asteroid stuff, he was wearing the Nazca Lines poncho and all that kind of stuff. And
So cool.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And see, the things you're talking about that show more than if you would have been at some random one at the sports arena with 7,000 people.
But the thing is whoever put that show on lost it a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Lost their ass.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's my
Because
favorite.
I was looking at doing
you
some
know.
shows in where I live in
Mhm.
Fort Wainimi, but the minimum was going to be $20,000.
Yeah. You brought up that one package, and
Yeah, that was
It's
the package we were
yeah,
talking about.
Before I forget, I am on it. I'll put my hat in the ring. I will do whatever I can. I have time. I will make time. I've wanted to do this for a long time. I'm trying to mentor and work with people, but I'll throw my hat in the ring. I will.
It'd be great to get another all ages venue
Let's
like
get
that.
an all
Like,
ages thing
yeah,
going.
rec center sort of vibe.
Because
That'd be great.
the one thing that I always thought too is because of the fact that a lot of us people that grew up in the scene. I mean, we've talked to people all the freaking time. We get from the group. I've had people here doing work that have said, "Oh, you're Germ. I met my wife there. I've whatever." So many people came out of the scene, and there's people in professional places who have the ability to make things easier if we just corral it all and everyone works together.
Yeah.
We don't have to pay top dollar. I mean, everyone's, most of us have kids. If we utilize our resources, use people in government, whatever position they have to do the minimum amount that doesn't impede on their life, they're more likely to do it. In theory, because of me being a DIY guy, I mean, there's things like, okay, well, this is broken. Well, I'll get some duct tape and super glue and I'll fix it myself. I'm not going to, except for plumbing, which is, we'll discuss that earlier. We have serious plumbing problems here. So I got to get Bob from Vinyl Communications, who's still doing plumbing. I'm waiting to
I
get
need
his number. Yeah, we need his number. Half of this house needs
These old houses.
Travis was a great asset. He knew his plumbing, and he was willing to help you and jump in. He still is. We're still on great terms. He's a great friend of
Yeah.
ours. He had personal responsibilities he had to attend to. He left the band in amicable terms, and we still love the guy. But he's a good plumber. You might want to reach out to him. Or
yeah. I mean, I need someone. I'll mow your lawn. I'll do full cleanup. I mean, it just make it work. But so when I kind of wrap things up, first of all, we're going to talk more about social media and about doing shows and all that. But we can do that together. In the meantime, what song can we play? And then we want to do a bunch of plugs. Whatever you guys want to plug and where we can find it, so we can get this wrapped up. So. What song should we share with the folks right now? And as we get that queued up.
Strong Men or Gaslighting.
more strong men is probably a good one.
Okay. And then what plugs do you want to do? Like, let's just plug whatever coming. Now, mind you, this probably won't come out for a couple of months, but.
That probably could be out at the end of June.
Okay. So July 2nd is Bancroft with Doll Riot and Beta 7 and Wabash Cannons. Maybe adding one more band. We'll see.
Yeah.
And then August 4, it looks like we're going to be playing with a band out of Austin, Texas, the Toxic Madness.
Okay.
Us, and then there'll be another band added to that. I'm actually looking for a venue on that one, but keep your eyes on social media for that. We are on Spotify, YouTube, Apple,
Amazon Prime Music,
Amazon,
All platforms.
all platforms, and a CD coming out hopefully very soon, like within the next month.
So for booking and all that, how can people?
Best way is to look up Wabash Cannons on Insta and just message me.
Okay, cool.
Or Facebook. It's fine. It's just, it gets confusing. Like this morning, how I was trying to get in touch with you.
Yeah.
And I couldn't remember. Did I text you? Did I Insta you?
Yeah.
Or did I Facebook you?
Yeah. I know. I'm the
It's so
same.
crazy.
And I don't have notifications turned on most. So I did give you my number.
Yeah, that was great.
So that's usually the best
Okay.
way.
All right. I'll save that
text.
to the phone today.
And then phone calls is
Ooh.
when I have the time, I get on the phone and I'll make phone calls. But usually, because I'm realistically, I do better on the podcast, but I'm fucking long winded. You can ask me how the day go, and 15 minutes later, I'm going cracking the second beer, going, well, so let me tell you about how the day went. And then Jerry knows. We'll talk for 40 minutes, and I'm just whatever comes to mind, and I'm just, especially when I'm at
He's
work.
got a rant.
Oh my God, do I ever rant?
So what have you been doing since you've left San Diego?
I do environmental compliance. I've been doing that for 21 years now. I test gas stations for leaks.
Oh, okay.
And not just gas stations, any underground tanks or above ground tanks. So like chemical companies. I work for several gas companies, and then I work for waste management, a couple nurseries.
Okay.
So just a good mix of stuff, and I'm throughout the whole state of California.
Wow.
Well, and then you're living in Ventura?
I live in Port Hueneme. So yeah,
you just said
Ventura
that.
County.
You just said
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, so you guys need to come up that way and do
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Let's figure that out.
Yeah, I'll try to get you guys on some shows up there.
Is
would be
there
cool.
a club in Ventura called not Tsunami, but something like that?
There's Ventura Music Hall, which used to be Discovery. A bunch of bands have played there, like Face to Face. I don't remember who else I've seen over there. There's the Ventura Theater. In Port Hueneme, there's the Ocean View Pavilion, which a lot of the Nardcore bands, actually they do Nardfest there.
Nardfest.
I'm trying to remember some other places.
The Fok Wolves were telling me that they played in a place in Ventura, and they said it was off the chain. They said it was crazy fun punk rock bar, but I can't remember the name.
There used to be the Garage, and actually Buck and I played there back in 2019, and it sold out, and it was an awesome show. It was probably the best show of that run, and I promoted that show, so got a lot of people out there, and it was a good time. But yeah, that place they didn't want to do punk rock shows anymore, and it sounded awesome in there. The sound guy knew how to dial that room in, and it's just sad to see that place went away. But yeah, there's not a whole lot of venues. Oxnard Performing Arts Center is doing shows there. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Eddie Numskull. Numskull Presents. He's been around a long time. He used to
It
bring
sounds really familiar.
he used to bring shows to Soma.
Seen that
actually.
on the flyer.
Yeah, he brought a Lagwagon down from Santa Barbara,
okay.
and actually Eddie was in Habeas Corpus,
That sounds
and he was in Missing 23rd, and yeah, he still puts on a bunch of shows. So you guys might want to reach out to him. He
Okay.
does shows at, like in Bakersfield and
That'd be cool. Fresno.
San Luis Obispo. He
used to
he
play-
does a lot of stuff.
Tony's Pizza in Bakersfield. Is that still
Yeah,
going?
he
They still
does
doing,
that. He
they
does
still
that.
doing shows there?
Yep.
Holy shit, that would be a lot of fun.
So hell
Kids,
yeah.
the kids show up for that one. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
The Rats played there a couple times.
How fun. Let's do it.
Cool.
Got to.
Yeah. Well, we'll make sure we get a hold of Eddie, and we can do the tags. We'll have to do some photos
Okay.
for promotional purposes.
Alrighty.
Down.
And,
I need it for my Instagram page.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yep. I will promote the hell out of you.
Awesome. Well, we're going to
You'll be
promote
sick
the
of
hell
me.
out of it. This is realistically, this is probably, and I think I say this every time, but this is really the greatest thing about doing this podcast. To hear the stories, to see old friends that have known, we're literally over 30 years now, probably,
Yep.
Cameron.
It was Sid. Was Sid in the Union initially? Your friend Sid?
I think you remember Sydney, don't you?
Yeah, because Grant, I was drumming for the Union, and Grant came in and took his position, and that's how kind of Grant and I got started on the
I
Confederates.
think so.
I think he played for the Union. He was having some
yeah.
drug issues and had to quit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and he's been up that for what, and that was part of the problem was with his hand when he protected my neck. He couldn't play the bass anymore, and I was devastated because one of the things that I thought was really kind of crazy but cool about Sid was he had played with Gigi for just a short spell, and I thought, oh my god, you play with Gigi?
That's
How
pretty.
fucking punk rock.
That's pretty fun.
But that was, before he turned into a complete maniac. But Sid's still around, and actually, we reconnected recently,
Right on.
so he'll get a kick out of. I'll definitely tell him that you were here, and we'll come. I'll drag them out to a show.
Cool.
Yeah,
Do it.
that'll be good times. So what song are we going to play here real quick, Jerry?
More Strong Men.
There we go. Wabash Cannons. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Masculinity is what we need. Masculinity to be free. You say your life is negative. You better toughen up if you want to live. There's a place in this world for strong men. There's something to be said for them. Our forefathers were weak and feeble. They kept us strong and able. What we need is more strong men. What we need more strong men. What we need more strong men. What we need is more strong men. The place is strong is often weak. Turn our fall to our knees. Who will be left to fight? No one. Turn out the light. What we need is more strong men. What we need more strong men. What we need more strong men. What we need is more strong men. The pendulum has swung too far, denying nature at its core. We used to be celebrated, and now all comes to get it hated. What we need is more strong men. What we need more strong men. What we need more strong men. What we need is more strong men.
This podcast was recorded at Red Rum Skates. Mixed by me, Jer. Music provided by Breakacre. We appreciate all our listeners and our guests. Please stay tuned until the next one. Have a great one. Bye.
I think back and wonder what was wrong with us. So stubborn that's all. Was it all the drugs? I've got no faith in anything. I never was into listening. I will never follow the rules. Never follow the rules. Don't follow the rules. Never, never follow the rules. I've got no faith in anything. I never was into listening. Out of control with a criminal of our generation. No makes stagnation. I've got no faith in anything. I never was into listening. This one's for me. I have faith in being me. This one's for you. Break on.